everybody, welcome to the Sunday afternoon, because I've run out of parts. What are we on now? 5? Part 5 of the Flory Fest 2021. As you can see, my special guest down below here, Paramjit from Airfix, is with us. So we'll be talking to him shortly as well. The other guys are here. They're just above, actually, Nathan's head. You can just see the bottoms of them. If you look up there. Anyway, here we are with you. Just to give you a quick rundown. Obviously, this is our final show. We're going to be from 2 o'clock till 5. Okay, down in here as we're making our way through. And obviously, you can get all your bits and pieces. This is the final chance, final warning, everybody, to get your 10% off all your model kits. And we've got the specials over at PM Models. So they are down in here. Lots of them are selling very, very quickly, and we're getting very low on numbers. So grab yourself some bits and pieces as you can. Obviously, we're doing up to 28% off various things on the Flory store as well. So again, you can get your various things in here. It's getting very limited on numbers as well for this one. So obviously, it's like £10 off the sander sets. There's a quid off there. There's 50p off all the packs of sanders. They're only a £5. And there's 25% off the washes as well. So they're only £4.80 instead of £6. And then we've got the pigments as well. But unfortunately, we are out of the sets of pigments. They've all sold out as well, so you can get from there. Don't forget, if you're inside the EU, you can get 15% off all Flory Models products through our friends over at Serious Models. So obviously, if you're in the EU, that's where you want to go for all your Flory Model stuff. They do the entire Flory Models range down in there, and they're doing a blanket 15% off of absolutely everything down in there. And for our North American friends as well, High Altitude Hobbies, they've got the discount codes working as well with them. It all gets put on directly at checkout, and they've got all your sanders and washes and all your bits and pieces just in there like that. Don't forget, if you want to send us some pictures for us to have a look at, just do the old hashtag official Flory Models, and you'll be down in here. And yes, look, I put up the picture of the lightning, which I finished this morning. So final, done that one as well. So that is all finished. I will get some shots of the Vulcan done as well, probably a little bit after the show, and I'll pop them up as well so you can see those down in there. And then obviously you just tag your things in, and then we'll come along here and we'll have a look at all your great work down in there a little bit later on as we make our way through the show. Good afternoon to Paramjit.
Are you guys okay?
How are you doing? Long time no speak. Well,
yeah,
all right, not that long. How's it going? How's life at Airfix?
Yeah, busy as always. Closing up to the end of the year, so just getting ready for the end of the year, and then just sorting that sort of stuff out.
Oh, and soon to be a TV star, we hear?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. So yeah, it's airing on the 11th of October. So if no one knows that, there's a series of Hornby on Yesterday Channel. So it's a 10-part series, and I think about 4 episodes of those are Airfix. Yeah, it should be good. I don't know what order it goes in, but yeah, that's how it is.
So yeah, that's on the Yesterday digital channel. So if anyone's looking for that, I know some of our members, it's been spoken about in the forum anyway, and I don't know how you'll watch it from abroad, unless someone bootlegs it onto somewhere.
Yeah, you can. I think you can watch it on the website. Whether the website will work on it, whether you need like a VPN or something, I'm not sure. But I'll find out and then pass on the message to yourself, and then yeah.
Cool, very good indeed. Well, as you can see, I've been busy this weekend. I don't know if you've seen any of them, but I've done the Vulcan. So how many of these have you built now?
So 3 in total, but 2 of them are painted up, and then 1 of them was just test build. Actually 4, I think.
Very nice. Do I get marks out of 10 for mine now then?
Yeah, it's really 10 out of 10.
Yeah, get 3 bags. 6, I'll take 6. So yes, done that one as well. And I've obviously today finished off the Lightning, which we've been working on a while, which I need to stick the canopy on clearly. Going our way through that one. Pranjit's probably best known at the moment because he's been speaking to us lots and lots over the last few weeks and everything, and that is obviously about this particular kit. Are you happy with all the feedback you've been getting on it?
Yeah, I mean, like from when I was last on, I was talking about how I done these little design implementations into it, such as the landing gear and stuff like that, and the masks. I think out of all of them, I think the mask has probably gone down really, really well, where it just goes on the nacelle. And the landing gear, I think, from what I've heard, most people have said, yeah, it goes together quite nicely, and it is. They are quite happy the way I've thought about it. So yeah, no, I'm good. And that is actually one of the episodes that will be covered as well in that Hornby TV series, like the development and the whole behind the scenes sort of thing of the mosquito. So that should be pretty good.
Can I just say about feedback? I've had a message from Clive Whitford on the forum. He says, "Hi Phil and Andy. If you get a chance with Pramjit on the show, thank him for the wonderful little mosquito. He's put a link up to his reveal for it. Says a loyal Airfix model that I've cut my teeth in the 70s and 80s, building mostly Airfix. I think the new mosquito is excellent and already bought another one to build."
No, that's great. No, that's the type of feedback that sort of spurs me on a bit, and obviously makes it worthwhile doing this sort of job.
Nice.
Yeah, really great. Thank you.
Cool, very good. And let me just make some space here as well. So one of the other ones you've been working on is the starter sets, as well as a few others. Because I know Nathan's got the other one there as well.
Yeah, so a bit of behind the scenes sort of thing. These were actually done, I think, about 2018, 2019. So I started in September 2018. My first project was the Tiger tank, which is that one, and the more complicated version of it.
Yeah.
And then my second project was the Hawk, and my third one was the starter set Spitfire, and then the fourth one was the classic Spitfire, which is Nathan's built as well. But the Hawk and Spitfire were sort of briefed at the same sort of time. And the reason was because obviously around that time we were going to introduce a new range of starter sets, and the Spitfire and Hawk were briefed at the same sort of time because they were both required a stand.
Yeah.
So hence why that was the case.
Very nice. Well, I thought what we'd do, because it'd be quite interesting, is that I will do an unboxing video type thing of it, and you can talk us through it. So I'll throw you under the bus because you didn't know I was going to do this. So what I'll do is, if I put my overhead on here, I can go through the sort of the box and everything, and you can point out any interesting bits as we make our way through. Because then I can ask you of why you did it that way as well. So so anyway, these are the new starter sets. Obviously, they're designed at the newer modelers, shall we say, and the youngsters as well, because it's like a simplified version. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the story you guys were telling yesterday about that person who said he's never built a model and he was in his 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
I mean, like, these sort of kits are like perfect. I mean, like, even though they're designed for like kids and stuff like that, it's still also for like the beginning modeler and also people who just want a little mojo build. You guys were talking a few weeks ago about emoji and stuff like that. Those are, I think, we'll give those a go. Whether they're your subject or anything like that, this is different. As a kit, I would probably say tremendous.
So Phil's going to use the paint and glue.
I'll tell you what, the brush is improved over your old ones.
Yeah.
Because the old brush used to be proper awful, wasn't it? I'm not being funny, that was the red one, and they always had that 90-degree bend on the end because they never had a protective cap. But actually, that's not a bad brush in there this time. It's a proper Humbrol number 2. So anyway, that's a thumbs up. These, I tell you what, we'll just pass on that, right? That's good for prosperity, so we'll whip past that as well. But I love the brush, so that's good. Right. Instructions and things. So this is obviously a little bit different, I've just noticed. We get a before you start guide, which we don't see in the normal ones. Sorry.
Yeah, so that was something that I remember we all had a meeting, manager, designers, graphic designers, illustrators and all that, and then we just sort of came together and thought, what do we need to do in terms of like making it easier? Because I think a few other competitor companies start doing that for their starter sets, isn't it? Just sort of explaining the basics. I mean, like, again, if you're someone new to the hobby and never built a model kit or only built a few, something like that is quite invaluable to understand how it all goes together. So the only sort of it would be great if people like have a look at it and see what sort of feedback people want to give. I think the most common feedback we've got, I think it's in step 9, the one with the paint, just explaining, and this goes for all paints, is just to explain that thin it down with a bit of water and then apply 2-3 light coats just to build it up, because if you don't really know that, that's what goes across all paints, is obviously don't put it on too thick when you're painting it, just do nice light coats. That's probably been the main feedback we've got on that. But if there is any feedback on the sheets, or what's good, what's bad, what doesn't work, what needs a bit updating, changing, just feel free to.
Well, I've just updated this bit here by putting our logo on your sanding stick, so that's fine.
How dare you paint on the spooler?
Well, this is true. You get heresy, that is, apparently. I do like, you know, one of the biggest things is, and it works for today as much as it's ever done, but the amount of times people don't test fit, and they automatically put glue on and then shove it in, and then it doesn't work. And especially, not being funny, if you're using the normal tube glue, the mess you'll make taking it on and off, and then because you haven't perhaps taken a tab off, or there is a little bit of sanding or something that's needed. So again, like that is just one of those ones, even if you're an old hand, many time I haven't test fitted and something's not quite right, and you've ended up with glue everywhere. So that's always the problem. But generally I think the rest of it is all pretty good, isn't it? All makes sense.
Our illustrator done all those little illustrations himself, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Was that your idea to do that then, Pramjit? Or
not my idea. It was actually, I believe it was my manager's. Who recommended doing something like that. And I remember we were trying to figure out what do you call it as well. So I think he went with before you start.
Yeah, which I think works. Definitely.
Yeah, I remember that, because it's like, what do you call it? Oh, here's a guide to building it and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a lot of thought has gone into like the instructions and those sort of things. So hopefully it does pay off.
Because again, I think this is we've spoken about this a lot on some of the other shows, but there's a fair amount of modelers coming into the hobby now who never did it as a kid. So they haven't got that thing where somebody sat down with them and talked them through it. And like I've been trying to do with my new tutorials range, and that is purely because there's so many new people coming to the hobby these days who've never done it, whereas it's almost was a given a few years ago that you did it as a kid and then you came back to it. But I think one of the things from COVID and lockdown, we're getting a lot of people who've never built a plastic kit in their life. But they've seen it and thinking, do you know what, that sounds like a good idea, even if they're latter in life and things like that. So again, basics, things like that, it works really, really well. Or especially because if a youngster wants to get involved with it and their parents never made a kit, it will give them an idea of how to do it as well. So it's not as stupid as it would seem.
Yeah, because I think I've been doing this for about 10, 11 years now. And sometimes you do forget, how was it when I first started? You try and put yourself back in someone else's shoes and trying to understand how this sort of stuff works. But yeah, it's just trying to make it as easy as possible, and then going back to when you first started, what would make your life easier and what would be good for the modeler then.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is new, isn't it? Sprue layouts. So that's quite a cool idea to show you where they are on the sprue.
Yeah. So just a little point out is just that it was all red, so they're all like slightly different colors. So like, for example, like the tiger tank is like a sand color, and the Sherman is a green. So it's just to show, make it a bit more easier for people who are painting it, or perhaps they don't even want to paint it, just so that they can just put the decals on. Because I always say, when you do a kit, maybe you don't have to. I think when someone new comes into the hobby, I think they get quite intimidated by they have to paint it.
Yes.
And it's like, just build the kit, and obviously you get a feeling for it if you even like the hobby and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. So again, immediately things I like. I do like that as well with having the sprue, and it shows you exactly where they are on the sprue. So somebody coming in, let's face it, it's numbered, but at a glance you can see exactly where it is on the sprue. So that's quite nice. Also, you by doing the highlighting for the yellow areas for paint, for glue, for the gluing surfaces as well. That's quite a nice touch as well. Right the way through.
You've got to be quite careful, obviously, with the tube glue. Because
well, you would have to be careful with your tube glue, definitely. Yeah. But no, actually, I quite like that for the newbie sort of, or the youngster coming into it. So definitely. And again, with the ones with the intakes going down in there, tail planes being fitted, so nice big tabs, I assume, that interlock, do they?
They don't interlock, but they are keyed.
They are keyed, yeah. So that's good. And then obviously usual thing with you guys, which I've always quite liked, is that you show, the off angles, so you can actually see exactly how it should look, without being too over the top by putting degrees on and that, which I often think is a little bit over the top. But yeah, that's quite nice as well. So we've got intakes going on, tail planes, things like that. Underside, so we've got, large locating tabs for the wing section going underneath. And then obviously we've got the area being fitted right underneath that one as well. So that's actually quite nice. So hopefully it'll be a nice secure fit. One piece door system underneath, and obviously a nice big plug as well for the nose. So if you're going to go for in-flight, which is another nice touch. That's interesting as well, the way that you've got fixed down doors.
Yeah.
As well as a plug-in, which is nice. And then I take it these are probably going to be quite large tabs as well for the gear going in. And then you've actually got a plug in an entire one-piece plug for the nose wheel.
Yeah. And if you also notice as well on the sprues that the parts are actually going away from the sprues, so
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
that's
say.
it. You're removing them off the sprue. I tell you, that's genius. I didn't spot that, but now I have. Yeah, now you can never unsee that.
yeah. I mean, like, it's just one of those little things where it just sort of helps, obviously, a beginner and stuff like that. To be honest, you kind of wish, well, why doesn't every kid does it
Oh
do the
yeah, I
same?
tell you what, the amount of times we spend looking around sprues, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to find it on the sprue, having it like that, genius. So I take it this will only be for the starter sets. You won't probably get that type of layout with the normal kits, no?
Oh, no, just for the starter sets.
Right,
Yeah.
cool. Just checking. And so we've got crew being fitted down in there as well, and then obviously the canopy's a nice one-piece canopy saying not to glue. So I take it I'm going to build this in a minute. I know you didn't know that, but I am. So that just back slides into it then to lock it in, yeah?
Yeah, it works pretty decently. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that.
We'll find out. Anyway, a nice stand. So this is
Yeah.
a 3D type stand. It's not just a flat one then.
Yeah, so, well, if anyone, so a little behind the scenes sort of thing about the stats is that I think it was, so when I got the brief for it, it was sort of around the sort of same sort of time that you finished the F-14 Tomcat, the Tamiya one, and then
Yeah.
you put a shadow stand on there.
Yeah.
So then when I saw that, and then it was maybe about a few months, maybe about 6 months before you finished that. And then obviously I got a brief for a stand, and I was like, well, now that I've seen a shadow stand, that's kind of like the perfect option. So I did try some other different ideas, but then all of them, I think the whole team in general liked the shadow stand, and it came out really well. So we went with that idea, and then we went for SLA. But then afterwards, it was quite thick, so it was about 5 mil in height, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was really big. And then one of the designers mentioned, and I think my manager as well, why don't you try and make it look a bit 3D and add a bit more style to it, and to make it a bit more different. But obviously you've got to be quite careful because you don't want it to make it look like as if it's like a smaller aircraft, but just underneath, but
Yeah,
just
yeah.
giving it a bit more definition and stuff like that. But no, I'm really happy. It came out quite well. The Hawk works better than the Spitfire, I'll say, just because the Hawk, you can put the stand on the rear end and it looks a bit more cooler, but the Spitfire works just as well.
Very nice, but no, I like that. That's a very cool touch. And there we go. So that's those bits done down in there. I'm just wondering, the decal placements. Have you got a thing for that, or am I not?
Yeah, it's actually on the back of the box, I believe.
Oh, is it? Oh, right, that'll be it then. Sorry. Oh, right, okay, got you. So on here we've got the decals, which are normally very good for you guys these days. Who prints your decals?
Cartograph. So yeah, pretty much the best.
So as you can see, no problem with those at all. Very, very nice indeed. So anyway, into the plastic, we have. Let's have a quick shimmy down through here. So we've got clear parts, separate bags.
Also,
Okay.
people are wondering as well, like there's quite a lot of bits and stuff like that missing. So we try and go for as accurate as possible. But no, how you got those fins on the back of the Hawk on the bottom underneath.
Yeah, the ventral ones. Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't obviously we didn't add those because then it means more parts and making it a bit more complicated. So we sacrificed that sort of stuff to make the kit as easy as possible. Because when you're a kid and stuff like that, or someone new to the hobby, you're not really too worried about that. You just want something that looks more or less like a Hawk or a Spitfire or a tank. Like, so you don't want to overcomplicate it and stuff like that. And obviously, if they do want to go for a more accurate kit after building the starter set, then obviously they can do stuff in the other range. So that's the idea behind it.
Okay, yeah, because the actual the little fins on the bottom are actually the speed brake, isn't it? They're the edges of the speed brake when that deploys down. So that's that bit. But again, your panel lining seems very nice and crisp and sharp.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's come out quite nice on the red plastic.
Yeah. So again, you've got all the details, and again, because obviously it's being a starter one, the locating tabs are huge, which is good because it'll lock together. You know, I don't know how well this goes together without glue. Is it one of those that will basically hold itself together?
No, you need some glue.
You do need some, right? Okay. So, but again, really very nice indeed. So that's your fuselage bits, and then we've got the wing sections and tail planes. As you can see, we've still got all the panels. You've even got the little vortex generators, the ailerons. The actuators on the flaps, tail planes, intakes. Very nice indeed. As I say, I'm going to bung it together in a minute. So there we go. There's your stand. Should be that way, I take it. There we go. So very nice indeed. And again, as you say, you've got the FX logos on the stand.
Yeah, that worked out quite nicely actually. Quite
It's
happy
a
with
nice
that. I've
little
actually got
touch.
some built up. I've got them built up over here. I'll show you on camera in a bit. But yeah, I actually I put a whitewash, so I painted it black, and then I put a whitewash in there, and then took it out, and then obviously used it in the recess.
Very nice. But again, all the tabs aren't in silly places and all the rest of it. You know, they're easily to get in there to clean up. So that's quite a nice touch as well. And again, down on the blind side. Very good. Again, I think, you know, from an ideal point of view of, you know, a newbie coming into it, or as you say, a youngster joining into the hobby as well, first time round, it's of that level where they could get it together. It's not like you need an adult to come along and help you.
Yeah.
Which is the nice thing with it, because again, it's, you know, the trouble you have these days, I think, is that parents are busy now. I don't, you know, as I say, sitting down with your kids and spending Sunday afternoons building model kits for your kids doesn't tend to happen that day, does it, Andy?
No.
So yeah, here's one I built earlier.
Hold on, if I've got the camera still right, hold on, I've just got to adjust the system just slightly. Hold that thought. I should have done this before the show. Forgot.
That's
Hold
just
on.
what Phil's will look like at the end of the show.
Yes, absolutely. Of course it will. There we go.
So yeah, that's a red one.
That looks really good, actually.
It does actually. Absolutely. I tell you what, as you say, seeing that, you wouldn't think it's this in front of me. So it just shows how well it will go together.
And then you've got one with a stand as well. This is my favourite. So
Yeah.
when it's
That does look cool.
It does look cool for an in-flight one like that. Looks absolutely fantastic.
the Airfix logo, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Just there.
Very cool.
Very, very good.
But yeah, it's nice because you can just pivot and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I was really, really happy with it.
Very nice. Very, very cool. Well, what I'm going to do now is actually, as we talk, is put it together. No pressure.
Can I
So-
just get a couple of questions in, Phil, while you
Yeah,
start?
go for it, mate.
Right, where are we? Josh says,
Need the
will
instructions.
Airfix ever do... I know Nathan, Pramjit will either know some of these and know some, won't know some, and know some that he can't even say, so...
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see how we get on. Will Airfix ever do a 1/72 scale new tool Hawker Sea Fury?
Is that the FB1?
Yeah, FB11, FB11.
Yeah, FB11. Well, I'll put it down on the list. And then just also another point as well is that people request sort of kits and stuff like that. Obviously, request the scale and what it is, but if you're really, so for example, Hawker Sea Fury, if there's like a specific type of marking or era that you want, mention that as well. But if you're not, if you just want Hawker Sea Fury, then just say that. But some people, for example, let's just say, other guys always say they want like a 1/72 or 1/48 Jaguar. Obviously, mention saying you want like a Go For scheme and stuff like that. So obviously that helps us narrow it down on like what sort of schemes, because obviously it's so large, the scope that you can do, and obviously the bits and bobs that change from Tuesday to a Wednesday.
Can we just quickly focus on Phil and notice that he's got glasses on?
Yes, I'm wearing my gigs.
I didn't notice that. It's so
Gordon says Pramjit sounds always a bit crackly. It sounds fine to me.
Yeah, it sounds fine to me. That crackly, I think, is the other guy's.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not Pranjit.
Yes, but
Somebody got a bit
Who's
Nathan
eating
needs to say,
crisps?
look,
It's Matt eating his burger crisps.
No, I've eaten mine. It's next eating his
Nathan
dip.
eating his lunch, isn't it? Yeah.
What you got? Oh,
Yeah, that's it. That's not Pranjit, that's the gang.
Can I mute you? Can I mute you a bit, Nathan?
oh, it's Nathan unwrapping his.
yeah, mute me for a bit.
Yeah, mute him for a bit.
Right, I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna do a bit of airbrushing as well while you have a chat. So I'm gonna mute myself as well.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
I think I've muted.
I'll mute myself and then I'll just build along. I'll
Yes.
be back.
Oh no, hang on. Phil,
Yeah,
Phil.
yeah.
Sorry, I think I've muted you.
Oh. Do I have to unmute myself?
I clicked on my screen to mute Nathan, and of course it's not his screen, is it? It's
There you go, I'm back.
yeah, you're back. I clicked on the screen to mute you to mute Nathan, and it's not his screen, is it? It's yours.
Andy, do it again.
This is
Yeah.
it.
Right, oh, sorry. Dan says the Mozzie needs 2 because of the markings. They are very, very nice markings in it, I must admit.
Go on, I'll tell you what, I'll bite the bullet, shall I?
For
I'm going to
20...
use the glue.
Oh my god. For 2023, we could have a Pramjet group build.
This is it. With the way he's knacking them out at the moment, all these different kits, we'll have enough to do it.
Mark's asking in our chat, have Airfix any plans to release that type of stand as a standalone item for other kits?
Probably not. I know that has been, some people have been requesting that, but it's like to make it work for all kits, because obviously the shadow stand is specific for that aircraft. What are you probably thinking? Are you thinking like doing that shadow stands like a general one or something? Or not even a shadow stand, just a general stand? Because I don't think we've even got any stands, I don't think, in the range. I know that some people have been requesting that from what I've seen.
Yeah, Dave says in chat, any stand would do like the old days.
Okay, I'll pass that on. To be honest, yeah, it's actually quite nice not doing it on his landing gear, because you don't have to worry about wheels and stuff like that. Just do it in flight and that's it. It is quite nice.
Roger says he's got 10 of those brushes, come with different kits.
To be honest, I think the brush is fine. It's a lot better.
Yeah.
It used to be a brown horrible thing in there, which was literally no use to man or ornament. That one's alright.
Yeah, that's saying something if Phil's saying that about a brush.
Yeah, if I'm complaining about a brush, you know it's bad.
I know it sounds bad, but I actually use mine for cleaning my airbrushes out, so... That's sick of mine, but yeah, but they are useful. Scott said the Hawk and Spitfire starter kits that Pramjet did are in issue 3 of Airfix Club magazine. Look really good built up.
Yeah, I literally finished those a few weeks ago. Well, no,
Are they ones that you built, Ollie, for the magazine?
Yeah, so I got requested and I was like, oh, I'll build them up, because I think, yeah, they need to be promoted a bit more, I think, the starter sets, just to explain what is going on and give it a big push. Because if you think about it, I mean, like, the tooling costs across the, like, 4 kits, I mean, one of the other people mentioned it as well, I mean, like, across those 4 or 5 kits that we've released, that's probably the same amount of tooling costs as, like, the Vulcan.
Yeah.
I mean, like, those are 4 kits compared to 1. I mean, completely different subjects and different target market and all that sort of stuff. But in terms of the amount of investment that you're making in the company and stuff like that, they are quite similar and close.
Yeah, to be fair, I've got to admit, I thought they were simpler ones. I thought they were the click together ones, not the...
No, they're not quite Bandai level.
No, but Airfix did the other ones, didn't they? Was it Airfix or was that Rebel I'm thinking of?
I think it's Rebel with that camper van.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
didn't they do the Hawk as well?
It's alright, I'm going to
What
have
was
to
the one
do
that
this way, because otherwise it won't dry in time.
What was the one that you built, Phil, for Lydia a couple of years ago?
Oh, yeah, that was the Lego-y type ones you guys did.
That was
quick build.
Airfix, wasn't it? Yeah.
So you build quick build?
Yeah, I did it with the kids, wasn't it?
That was a quick build, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was one of our summer barbecues and Phil built one.
yeah, that's just like that's like a scale model play toy but in Lego form.
In fact, didn't John do one at the Telford one year?
Yeah,
I bought him a load of standing sticks over
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I was there for
I
that.
cheated.
Did you ever finish it?
No one had any extra thin though, did they? I think Lydia painted it.
He built it for Matt's daughter, didn't he?
Yeah, Lydia.
Yeah.
She still got it, I think she painted it.
Yeah, you built a 0 for Lydia.
I think that was the year that the Hellcat or Vulcan was on. I think it was the Vulcan, when the Vulcan was announced.
Yeah, I think it was a Vulcan, yeah.
2018, yeah,
We
2019.
got
sorry.
photos of him sat there doing it.
Yeah.
Right, okay, let's try and spray this, shall we?
Jake says, will you reissue the...
Look, I've been conned, I've got half a pot. Good job I don't need much.
He says F51 in 72nd. I know there is an F51, but does it mean P51?
Well, there was an F51 as well, that's the Korean
Did they do it?
version.
Did F6 do an F51?
Yeah, we did. In
Oh,
72nd.
yeah, well, not 72nd, I don't think.
I think we did do it in 72nd, I believe. I'm pretty sure, because I didn't see the box in the archive room. Airfix. I think that one came out first, and then the 48 version. Yeah, it came out in 2012. So yeah, I'll pass that on. Perhaps, I mean, like, to be honest, I can't even remember what's actually. So obviously we're going to be doing our range launch and everything like that next year because it's coming to the end of the year. I think the entire team's quite busy with that. I'm obviously just focusing on my design work. But yeah, keep an eye out for it. Like, I actually can't remember what's coming out. Obviously, I can't say what's coming out anyway. But yeah, keep an eye out and see what's in the range next year. And if not, then I'll pass it on and see if there's enough requests. And I mean, like, it's been what, 9 years now. So yeah, no, I'll pass it on. I mean, like, obviously, everything that people say in requests and everything, I can't obviously confirm. Yeah, we're doing all that sort of stuff, but I can pass it on to the people.
Yep. Peter says those are certainly clearer, talking about the instructions, certainly clearer instructions than the gibberish we're seeing on some Chinese kits.
Not to be honest, yeah, I mean, like, we've got a dedicated person who does our instructions, as you guys know. And to be honest, I think he's a very talented person in terms of his design skills. And to be honest, it was quite nice because we all came together as a team to obviously give our feedback and stuff like that. I mean, like that sprue thing on the corners, just pointing out where it is and obviously coming in.
Yeah,
I think that's so good. I'm not going to take credit for it because it's not my idea, but it was just such a good thing to do.
Like I say, I can see it being a problem on larger kits because obviously the sprues are larger, so you won't be able to do it on a big, on a big kit, would you? But and then instead a proper kit, then
A proper kit, yeah. How dare you.
Another question from our chat: are Airfix working on any new aircraft in 1/24th scale?
I'd say, well,
that's a no comment one.
That's a no comment, yeah.
Yeah, but so like, yeah, what if you were planning on releasing a 1/24th scale kit, or it's in the works or something like that? Like, what do you guys want for the next one? Because obviously the Typhoon, who is the Mosquito first, I believe, in the new range, then the Typhoon, then the Hellcat. So like, what would you guys like to see?
New
Spitfire Mark 9.
Spitfire Mark 9.
New Spitfire, yeah. New Spitfire, new Hurricane, I think.
The Hurricane Mark 2. Yeah.
The Mark II is the one with the...
Yeah, Mark 2C with the cannons.
Cannons, yeah.
With the cannons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I'm trying my best to spray this stuff, it's not going well.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to spray it.
Spray what?
The Humbrol paint.
Oh, you're actually spraying the Humbrol paint?
I'm trying to spray it. I wouldn't say I'm spraying it, I'm trying to spray it.
Hey, what you did it with?
I used a little bit of airbrush cleaner.
That's your problem, you've just used a little bit.
I think it's about 20 coats to cover this. I'll tell you what, that's thickening it up a bit more.
Is it
I'm so used to lacquers now. I do struggle when I went back to acrylics. I was like, it's just completely different because I'm just so used to spraying lacquers now.
Sorry, Phil shows how not to do it. I'll just a few more questions.
Yeah, you just do that, mate. You're doing a grand job.
I mean, it's fair. We were discussing this before we came on air, and I think it's a bit of a misrumour, really, that what happens here. But it says Airfix normally make their announcements at the come in Telford.
Yeah, so obviously we were explaining about that. I mean, we don't actually always make an announcement at Telford. I don't think there will be an announcement this year anyway. It's one of those ones where I think everyone expects. I mean, like, you see where we are on Telford, and I think everyone sort of crowds around there, even though around 10 o'clock. I think 10 o'clock we announce it. I think most people do crowd around there expecting an announcement. Sometimes not always an announcement.
But like you said, it was only really the Hellcat and the Vulcan, wasn't it? They've been announced at Telford. It's just those are the only two kits really that can show. It says they've not heard any rumours yet. Am I still expecting a Lockheed Hudson?
Lockheed.
Tom does say a 24th scale 190, or they have got a 190, 120, which I'm going to be building. What you, Andy?
Yeah, I am. That must be one of the words. So the problem is they're very long in the tooth now, aren't they? So especially the Spitfire and the 190.
Yeah, they're coming up. Yes.
Yeah, I mean the Hurricane's an old one as well, but it's still not as bad to build. But yeah, just compared to the quality of the newer ones, they're
What version
Yeah.
of the 190 would you like to see? The only like specifically because there's obviously so many versions.
I mean, the one. See, I still prefer the early versions to the late versions. I mean, I prefer the A's to the D's. I think it's got more character and the looks of it.
From
But they have already done an A, haven't they? So I imagine if they did do one, it'd probably be a D.
Yeah, I think it's like the Spitfire as well. I mean, most people prefer the early mid ones, so like obviously
Yeah, 5s and 9s. Yeah.
yeah, Mark 5s, 9s, because obviously that's got the Merlin engine, and then it goes like if you go like 14, it's got the Griffin, I believe,
Yeah.
and then obviously the canopy and everything changes. I don't think many people. I mean, like you look at the Mark 22, was it 24?
Yeah.
It looks really different. It looks really weird.
Yeah, it's very difficult, isn't it, to know what to do. Where else are we? Quick look. Gordon says he's 50 and he still needs adult help. I mean, there aren't many adults around here 12, are there? We're all children at heart.
24 scale JU87. Or release of it.
When is the Avro Lincoln coming out? It's the only heavy RAF bomber that Epix has never done.
Well, he says in our chat, a new 124 stealth Stuka. But to be honest, there's not a lot wrong with the Stuka that, you've done.
Yeah, you actually plan on building that. You bought that at Telford 2 years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I didn't. Nathan kindly gave it to me, and yeah, that's going to be started very soon.
Are you planning on doing that pretty soon?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's the Telford 2022 build. That's going to be.
Have you seen his build thread for it yet, Pranjit?
Nah, has he started it?
Have a look. It's got more reference material than.
Oh,
It'll be the definitive one, that's for certain.
Yeah.
Who is it? Johnny does say brand new Puma helicopter,
What scale?
72nd. He says, but
To go with the Wessex.
Yes, oh, I remember that. When you guys laid out all the boxes and you thought, oh, we're going to announce a 172nd scale Wessex.
Hey, well,
We were hoping for a 48 scale, but
Our powers of action are legendary.
yeah.
Even if your graphic artist thought it should have happened, but
I think Puma's been really hard done by over the years, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so, because, there is the old Airfix one, and then not a great Italeri one, I think.
Yeah.
So,
But there's a 48 scale Wessex by Italeri as well.
well, that's not been available for years, so they've dropped it, and it's really hard to get hold of.
Okay.
So, again, that's knocking on a bit now, I think. That's older than you think.
Is it? You know,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot older than you think.
Iron Man 129 says 172nd Tornado and Jaguar, both with retirement markings.
Jaguar retirement mark.
Yeah.
It's definitely a 7-second Jag.
Yeah, a lot of people are going for 72nd Jags on our chat actually.
7-second
Yeah.
Jag. Or a 48th one, because obviously
Kitty one.
we're lacking.
Well, Airfix released the Supermarine Scimitar. And the extra kit ones are going for £100 plus on eBay.
Are they? Bugger, I sold mine too cheap. God. So what you got on the bench then, Pranjit, that you can show us? Anything or nothing? Nothing you can show.
Yeah, I was thinking that I had to actually hide everything before we came on.
Will Airfix ever release a 124th Ju-87 Battle of Britain?
Is that a re-release or is that a new tool? Because I remember you guys were mentioning that as well, isn't it? Because you guys were wondering that we released the 24 scale range, the
Yeah,
Spitfire Hurricane and the...
yeah, re-release.
Yeah, I'll find out about that. The Ju-87. Maybe the tooling is a bit worn out. I think.
Yeah.
I'll find out. But I remember you guys were saying that a while, like about 9 months ago. You guys were saying.
Yeah, it was the odd one not yet re-released with obviously the Hurricane Spitfire and 109 really for Battle of Britain, you know, for the anniversary. So I presume the moulds have shot it or whatever. So.
Will they do the chipmunk in 70 scale?
Ooh, who knows? Who knows?
It's going to be quite small.
Just it'll be tiny, won't it? Yeah.
Remember when I first came on like last year, my very first show, I think when Phil asked us questions, he goes, what kit would you like to do? Like just out of the blue, and this all goes to your colour questions. That you went on 2 pink Spitfires, the starter
There you
sets.
go. Perfect.
All right.
Oh,
Oh, hello.
What was that?
that's Nathan.
Is that
They
Nathan?
look cool, though, don't they?
My phone,
Yeah.
it's all right.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
this is like a more hot, this one's a more hot pink, and this one's more like a PR Spitfire.
PRU pink, yeah.
Yeah, this one you can't see it on camera, but this is all cracked because it's the guns paint. So it's all got those like little micro cracks.
All right, yeah.
But no, it's just one of those ones where it doesn't actually come in this color. Just I thought I'll point out. So when you get the starter set, it does come in the one that Nathan's building now. It does come in like that color.
Yeah.
But I just thought, do you know what? I built quite a few of these. Let me just go build one in pink. I just really want to have a pink that came out pretty good.
Just another one in chat. Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Mate.
No, it's just one of those ones where, because they're such simple kits, they're quite easy to knock out without putting a lot of effort into it.
There's another one in chat. Peter's asking about the Mosquito. He says, only got one crew. Was that deliberate? I think we talked about it before, haven't we? That you can't scale the size of the thickness of the walls.
Yeah. So
Don't fit 2 crew in.
yeah. So the reason, to be honest, it would probably have been better just to leave no figures in there, because I think everyone was like, well, you put 1 in there, you should put 2. But the thing is, so obviously when we put it into the CAD, they in real life they're quite tight and compact. If anyone's been in like these sort of aircraft, so like for example like a Spitfire, Mosquito is a bit more obviously because it's like a slightly bigger aircraft, but they're really compact. And obviously because we use standard CAD files, so they're not sculpted or anything, so they're not positioned or anything like that. They're just preset in terms of their position. So I remember, I'm pretty sure this is a while ago that I've done it, about 1.5 years ago now. I think about it, but they were too cramped to obviously fit in. Obviously everything is done is in to scale and everything, but you've got to account for the wall thickness. So if you were to blow that up to full scale, so times the thickness by 7 it will come out really thick. But then you've got to do that thickness because it's to obviously make it moldable and obviously for it to come out of the injection molding machine. So it's just one of those ones where that's how it is. Not really too much you can do about it. If it was in 48, it would be a bit more easy, I would imagine. But yeah, it was because it was in 72nd, and obviously both of those figures wouldn't have actually fitted.
It'd have been snug in the real thing anyway, wouldn't it? With the bomber jackets on and everything else anyway. So, you know, when you think that the scale thickness of the walls are probably, you know, a foot thick, then if you added that onto the real thing, there wouldn't be enough room for 2 of them anyway. So
also, as well, as you say, the crew sort of overlap each other slightly, so they sort of sit at a different angle to how the figures are moulded.
Yeah,
I can't imagine sitting that. Imagine sitting in there on like a mission. You're sitting right next to someone like Rishu.
Twisted to the side. Yeah,
you're slightly twisted and off angle, and obviously the figures have been, fixed. They don't work. So
what do you do when your left bum cheek goes numb and you?
That's it.
It's like sitting in a car, but then where you've got obviously the center console that sort of separates you, it's actually even more closer than that.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when we were at Elvington and we all climbed into that nose section of the Canberra, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was very cosy.
That was incredibly cosy.
I mean, the guys at work in the marketing team, I think they were posted on social media that they were at Duxford, and I think they went into Lancaster, and he even said that it's a massive aircraft and everything, but it was really, really cozy, and it's like you're surprisingly tight. And obviously, when you get shot down and stuff like that, trying to eject out of that and quickly escape is not the most easiest thing. And that was a Lancaster as well. I think Lancasters were a bit more roomier than say like a B-17.
Yeah.
Because B-17 obviously had a lot more ammunition and figures, as in people in there, obviously, to try and because they supported daylight bombing, so obviously they went for more lower payload and then more armament to protect them. So imagine something like that. Yeah, it's just quite insane when you think about it. When you're actually, it's hard when it's different when you're actually in there and you're looking at it and sitting and then thinking, wow, how did these people do it back then?
As you can see, looking at the instructions, where that part was the very last part of the instructions, that Phil's now not following the instructions because he's cutting it off.
Yes.
Halfway through his build.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, just doing it from a speed point of view, so I can sort of get these things together and, you know, all the rest of it. So that's my theory to this, and I'm sticking to it. This is more of a speed build than a...
Yeah. Hugh says we most definitely need a new tool, 48th Buccaneer. Please consider it Airfix.
No, possible.
Will Airfix release the Hadley Page Victor bomber?
Hanley Page Victor, the 77. Oh yeah. Obviously can't say or anything, but the range launch is coming. Obviously going to be announced in January, so hassle me after that if nothing's in what you request is in that range launch. But
Yeah. There's another call out from Emu Model Zone for a 48th Buccaneer. Can I make a request for as a British institution? Could I request kits from the other British National Treasure, Jerry Anderson, as good as the Lions made kits of Fireball XL5 and Stingray that built?
okay.
Which company? There's a company who's got all the rights to all the Jerry Anderson stuff, though, isn't it? Type stuff for Stingray and all stuff like
That's
that.
the problem, isn't it? Yeah, a lot of things will be.
I think that's
Right,
with
still the
somebody else, a
company,
different company who's got the,
Yeah.
you know, the
It's
the
a
bits.
Shima, isn't it?
A Shima, that's it. Yeah, Shima's got all the stuff for them, haven't they?
Yeah, I think so. Again, it's licensing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you do movie stuff, you've got to pay the license holders as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Russell saying maybe Airfix could do sets of pilots separately. So you could like have a set of RAF pilots, a set of German pilots.
Yeah.
I don't know whether.
Matt was talking about those 30-second scale figures. I think I remember
Yeah.
seeing those look pretty decent as well.
I don't know whether this has been reposted, Richie, or it's somebody who's posted it, someone else posted for, but said, will they ever release a 124th JU 87 Battle of Britain?
Yeah, I think
I'm
that's
sure that's surely posted it before. We've already answered that.
yeah.
Perhaps you'll look into it.
Yeah.
Is Airfix bringing out a 132nd Buccaneer?
That'd be their first 30-second scale aircraft, wouldn't
Yes.
Yeah.
it? What a way to start, eh?
He's been thinking he must be misthinking it's the 24th Buccaneer they're bringing out.
Could you imagine a 24 scale?
That'd be
Yeah,
absolutely
a bit big
fine,
ones.
wouldn't it?
Well, you think Trumpeter were going to do it at one point?
They were almost
Allegedly,
that was all over, wasn't it?
it was there and all done and sorted for it, and then yeah, they decided not to. But that was designed and ready to go around about the same time as the A6. So
Two Heads Talking says, will Airfix be releasing the 48th Merlin HC3?
Is that the same?
Helicopter,
Is
isn't it?
that a re-release? Because we done.
Yeah, re-release, yeah. It's helicopter into Merlin helicopter.
No, I'll pass on. Because to be honest, I think we did dig up the SLA not too long ago. We just found it, and I was like, oh, the first time I actually seen it, and obviously it wasn't fully built up and everything.
So that's a big kit as well. Got like
yeah,
that's a
it
big
is.
thing.
It is really big.
Yeah.
yeah,
think
there's a thing to that. If you were, you know, just going back to the Merlin, obviously you guys invested quite a lot into that kit, and it was very short-lived. It wasn't around very often, long. Couldn't you retool it now to be like the Marine ones?
I think that's I remember we were talking about that, but I think there's a lot more changes than probably people realize. I think it's like got to do like a slightly different fuselage as well. I think apparently I'm not.
The fuselage is say obviously it's got the tail brake. That's the big thing that they went for. So obviously they're carrier compatible now. So the tail brakes and bends
Yeah.
around and all the rest of it. And obviously the rear ramp was altered a little bit as well, because they all went to Westland to be done. Funny enough, the last one went in there not so long ago, a couple of months ago, for the last of the RAF ones to be converted. So
Yeah.
I know I have seen a lot of people saying about, because you've done quite a bit of the Lynx family in 48 scale, about doing the wildcat cap. I think again, that's, although it looks very much like a Lynx,
Mm.
yeah,
I
that's
think
it.
there are a lot of differences on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's completely
Which
different.
isn't quite as easy just to update the molds that Airfix have got.
No, it's a completely different fuselage and tail and
Yeah.
everything, isn't it? So
It's like the Typhoon and Tempest.
Mm.
I mean, they obviously developed the Tempest from the Typhoon. They were going to call it a slightly different mark of the Typhoon, but they ended up calling it a different aircraft name,
Mhm.
just because it was that much different, even though they're quite similar. It's just one of those ones as well.
And Gordon says, I think there's more chance of a 48 Tornado coming out from Airfix before a Buccaneer.
Gap in the market for a 72 scale GR4, just saying.
yeah,
And you said, regardless, we need a 48 Buccaneer.
What is it about the Buccaneer that makes it so popular?
It's weird, isn't it?
I mean, it was, I don't know, it's such a funky looking aeroplane. Weird
If
sort
anyone
of,
does want a 48 Buccaneer, Matt will be having
Matt's got one
one
Matt's
or two
got
on sale soon.
available.
a
Would
bargain
Airfix,
price.
would Airfix ever get into resin printing, perhaps providing downloads for air and tank crews?
So, to be honest, that is something that we, well, don't know whether it is something that is something that I think we probably should be doing. Obviously, but it's just like, how do you do it for free? Do you charge people? How do you charge people? How do you monitor it? I mean, it is a pretty good idea, I think. Obviously, providing 3D files, because obviously we have the CAD for it, so we can make it fit exactly how it is, rather than reverse engineering it like how aftermarket companies do. Probably not like, I was thinking more like, so for example, like that mask set for the Mosquito, if we never managed to tool that, it would be pretty cool if you could just give the CAD file out and then someone can 3D print it. I mean, like, then that will save space in our tooling and stuff like that, make it a bit more cheaper for yourself, and then anyone who wants to do that and has a 3D printer can just like 3D print it. I think that is something I would imagine companies will be doing fairly soon. I think that is something that we should be looking into a bit more, I think.
Well, it's going together so far, I have to say, and I'm not just saying it, it's gone together like a dream. It's literally flying together, no issues anywhere so far. As you
quite
say, the
nice
tailplanes are keyed, so that's good.
Yeah, to be honest, I remember when I was keying those tailplanes, that was really hard because obviously the wall thickness the whole thickness of the actual fins and isn't that much. So trying to key it and make it work sensibly was quite difficult. I got on there. That was a bit tricky.
Yeah.
I'm having similar fun with the Spitfire. Viceless, there's no issues so far whatsoever.
It's quite nice on the Spitfire and Hurricane, I mean the Spitfire on the Hawk, is that you more or less put the fuselage together in the first step. It feels like you've accomplished quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Peter Oxley says, how about a 124th ME 163 coming?
It's not bad.
ME163.
Nice and
That's a little rocket engine.
Yeah, rocket engine, little thing.
Very small aeroplane. There's one at Cosford.
Isn't it called Comet? I thought it was, yeah, it's Comet, yeah.
Comet, yeah. Spelled with a K.
Yeah.
Rinky dinky little aeroplane, that.
Yeah, they just used to launch them up against the Allied.
Yeah.
They could land, could they? They just used to jettison off and that's it. I think it was a one.
No, they did have like a skid thing on the bottom of them that they could just
Yeah.
slide on the grass, but you wouldn't really want to. Will says, Fairy Battle, 72nd scale, please.
Very well, okay.
Jeff, Hawk Hurricane Mark 2C in 24th. I think you get a lot of friends with the Hurricane Mark 2C, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Hurricane Mark 2C would be pretty cool. You know, with the cannons and everything, it does look quite nice. It's like the Spitfire 5, Mark 5 with the cannons and everything. It does look pretty cool.
Yeah. Especially with the detail that is now in the 24 scale kits.
Just thought I'd show something as well. So this is the one that Nathan's building, but this is actually first test shots. So you won't actually notice this, but there's no part numbers on here. So I thought I'd show you guys.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Little tabs missing, aren't they?
Yeah, so this is how it comes during first test shots. They come with no part numbers. And the reason is because just in case you need to make a change or add a part or anything like that, if it is possible, then yeah, you end up adding them in during second shots. So once we do
those, sorry, do those part number bits have to then be cut into the sprue, into the moulds?
Yeah, but because you're adding plastic to it, so the way molds work is that if you're adding plastic, then it's easier because you're taking away from the mold.
Yeah.
So that's why people always make things looser than it actually is. So not just for model kits, but just in general. I remember when I was working at my pet company before here, I done a can cover, and then my manager said, make sure you do it loose, not too tight. And I obviously never really understood it then. But it was only when I first got it, then he explained it to me. And then obviously working here, now I understand it. So anyone working in injection molding or anyone who's working in that sort of process, always make it a bit looser because you can tighten it up after, but you can't do it the other way around as easily because you've got to build it back up, and it's never the same. So yeah. And then also I thought I'd show, this is the port that Phil's building. So this is actually the clear parts during first test shots. Don't know how well you can see it, but if you see it, it's not polished, and it's not part. So again, this is how we get first test shots for clear parts. They're not actually polished. Again, in case we need to make a change. So in this case, it actually was, because if you look at the canopy, there's a bit of detail there that's not on this one, and then that was added on after because we thought that was quite key. So that is this detail here, that white one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the reason why they don't polish it up is because if you do need to make a change to it, they haven't just polished it all up. Spent days and weeks polishing it up, and then we've asked them to make a change and mess that all up. So they do it after, and obviously they add the part numbers after. So this is quite an interesting one because this is a full impression mold. So although you'll only see one, you will never see this frame. But so if anyone is wondering, this bit here where the center is what's called the sprue, and that comes from the injection molding. So that is actually technically what's called a sprue. So this whole thing we always call sprue, but it's actually not. It's actually, I'm pretty sure in saying that it is this long rod that comes out from the machine. So that gets snapped off by the team, by the manufacturer, and that gets thrown away, and then we get sent this for obviously testing. But then when during manufacturing, it just speeds it up because you're making 4 canopies in one process rather than doing one at a time. So in those sort of cases, because the clear tool needs to be a certain size anyway, so you're better off adding a few more to it so that you can do less steps or less processes or runs of this tool, and then you can just snap it off and then put them on the individual kits. So yeah, just something that probably not many people actually see, those little behind the scenes sort of stuff.
Just a few more requests from people. Seem to be going mad with it. 48 Spitfire PR11 would be PR11 would be good. Spitfire T9 with Irish Air Corps markings.
Ooh, good choice.
Okay. They will not go back to Battle of Britain. I feel kids nowadays don't even know what a Spitfire hurricane is.
Oh, give them credit.
I think that's not giving them credit. That is. I think they do.
Yeah.
Jack says a 124 scale Lank.
Wow. Well, that would blow a certain Chinese manufacturer out the water, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We've got
Tommy
a shout,
Top then.
shout out in our chat for a new tool: Halifax, Stirling, Sunderland.
The heavies.
Yeah, got a 48th Lightning T45.
Yeah.
Just got a question for you guys as well. So no, I was thinking about it for like the Mosquito and then probably like a few other future projects as well. Is that in the instructions, when you've got 2 halves coming together, so let's just say you've got 2 wing halves coming together and you've got ejector pins. So either you can do either recessed or raised ejector pin. It's hard to get it completely flush just because of the nature of the part. So you get these raised ones and recessed ones. So normally on like tailplanes and wings, they're normally raised because the part is already so thin. So you don't want to do it recessed so it doesn't pierce through. But obviously sometimes that can cause a fit issue. If you were to put that in the instructions saying this injector pin needs sanding, does that make it sound like as if it's a bad kit? Because I was thinking about that with my manager a couple of days ago, and I was like, it needs to be sanded. There's nothing really you can do about it because you need an ejector pin there to obviously eject it properly from the tool. But then, will the modeler know? Will the modeler know to sand it? And it's like one of those ones where you need to take your time and obviously assemble it and then see what's causing a fit issue. And that's obviously the most obvious thing, an ejector pin.
Some manufacturers do put like a remove.
They
Yeah.
put, so like,
Something,
yeah, they put those ejector flow points, those little tabs, so which is this. So these little things on the end, those are ejector flow points, and companies do like on the ends. So companies do.
remove them, yeah.
Yeah, but then it's wondering if you had ejector pin and stuff like that. If it said, "Oh, sand this down or remove it because it will cause fit issues," will people think, "Oh, this is not that great," or it's a bit? They will double question it, or would people think, "Oh, that's actually pretty good. I'm glad they tell me that because I don't have to worry about it. As in, I don't have to think about it. I already know to sand that ejector pin."
I think if you explain it's an
Yeah,
inevitable
if
part
it was
of the
explained,
manufacturer.
yeah, and it's in your instructions saying that.
Yeah.
You know?
But this is, you know, I mean, I can see your point because it makes it look like, you know.
Yeah,
But
it looks like a cop out, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a cop. Yeah, that's it. Basically, that does it make it look like a cop out, even though it's if you've done that on purpose or there's no other way around it. At least
I mean,
you say, "Oh, look, sand it down because it's going to cause a fit issue."
I mean, my thought is you're educating the customer when you're telling them about, remove this.
Mm.
Because that's where, is it better to have, I think it's like that sheet that's in this, it's like this, it could take a small couple of inch box just to explain what it is.
Yeah.
Say it needs removing with a little, I think
But
it's
so something more specific. So like, let's just say on the mosquito or something like that. Let's use the mosquito as an example. We got the tail planes. If there's some ejector pins, but if you get a bit of flash on there sometimes, is it best just to say in that specific step, sand this down because it's going to cause you a fit issue? Stuff like that. It's just like, do you put that down or not? I don't know actually, because I was thinking about it because there's not really much you can do about it because so if you have an ejector pin recessed, then you can have then it's super close to the surface and can pierce through. So you're quite careful with that, especially with like wing halves because they go quite thin. Usually near the trailing edge, and you need ejector pins on the edge because then otherwise you warp the wing.
Yeah.
When you eject it out or when it's cooling down. It's just like, oh, do you actually put that down or not?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, isn't it? If it's education the person into the limitations of injection molding, so that's why it's like it. And I think if people knew that, it wouldn't be a problem. But if they weren't aware of it and you just found it, you'd be like, that's crap, isn't it?
So
It's
is
got
that
a bloody great
actually-
injector pin there.
Is that actually a choice in the design of the tooling in that you either have raised ejector pin marks or sunken ones?
So we say when the ejector pins come in, but then when it comes in for first test shot, so for example like this, they all basically recess, but sometimes you want them raised, sometimes it depends. So you just adjust the height of the ejector pin. You ask the toolmaker to do that. Sometimes you do need to do it raised, sometimes it's already done by itself because they kind of see it, but you can request that. And sometimes it is, I mean, like, let's just say you've got an ejector pin in a part. It's easier to sand down an ejector pin than fill it in and then sand it because obviously, and especially if it's somewhere that needs to be like rescribed or something like that as well. Well, probably not in that case actually, but it's like that sort of screw glue sort of thing.
Yeah.
You rather have the plastic there because you can just sand it away and it's just same material.
I'd rather have raised, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier to have raised ejector pins everywhere than it is recessed because you can just sand them down. It's not like you need to use a filler that could shrink or any other problem. It would be a quicker way of having raised. But I can see it from a consumer's point of view. If you saw it and it was raised everywhere, it'd look awful. Even
Yeah.
though, if you know, theoretically, it's so much easier to deal with it, and I'd rather have raised ejector pins everywhere than recessed, because it's a couple of swipes with the sanding stick and you're on, you know,
Yeah.
versus otherwise having to sort them out.
As long as you can get in with the sanding stick, though, isn't it? If you're doing
Exactly.
inside of a wheel well that's got sort of detail inside there that you can't get a sanding stick into, and it's easier to fill a recess one into with a blob of something. If it's a blob of PVA or something, just to to fill it in that you can't get. If you can't physically get in there with a sanding stick, or like I said, it's got detail around it.
Yes.
I just saw a good question from, where is it? Tim on the, hang on, it's flipped up again. Basically what he's asking is there any chance of on future kits having like a spare canopy?
I can think about it. So little behind the scenes sort of thing with the mosquito, because obviously you've got the two types of canopies. So you've got that one with the dome and the other one. So I put them both in there just so that if you do mess up one, you've got another one. Although it's not exactly the same, at least you've got a spare canopy. I remember I did think about that and then thought, oh, let's put that in there. Because obviously there are different versions. I think everyone sort of knows. Just another point on the mosquito. I know some people have said that hopefully you bring out a fighter version. So as far as I know, on the mosquito 2-stage Merlins, there were no fighter versions on that. It was only the single stages. So on the 2-stage Merlin, which is the one that was just released, there are only PR and bomber versions from what, as far as I know, and I'm pretty sure that's the case. So there are no actual fighter versions. So like the one that you done in the 30-second one, those are like the earlier ones. So those are
that's
the
right.
stages. So I know some people have been requesting that, thinking is that going to come out, but I'm pretty sure those are the earlier mosquitoes.
Two Ed's talking says, if you want to talk 124th, why not talk about modern jets? The Jaguar, Tornado, Typhoon. Why is it always the same old World War II subjects with limited bias? A 24 scale jet would be absolutely humongous.
Yeah, difference in size of them.
Just say it's size different, surely, and then cost of manufacturing, it'd be an absolute.
Yeah,
The
I mean, like, it goes back to that border models, wing nut wings.
You're going to cost a fortune, aren't you? If you go.
You did the Harriers, didn't you? But the Harrier's quite a small jet.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you looking? You're looking at Vampire, aren't you? There's a realistic fourth jet. You're looking at a Vampire, perhaps a Provost, a jet Provost, but you couldn't go into the fighters, could you? Because they'd just be enormous.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Say, if you start going into them, we've done comparisons here before, because a 48 scale Su-27 is the same size as a 30-second scale F-16. You know, in the various things. And as I say, if you're looking at Tornadoes, they're very long. You know, the big aircraft, the smaller stuff. There you go.
I mean, a Tornado's not a big jet.
No.
But if I just put the Spitfire over it, it's almost twice the length.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then that goes on to what we were talking about on Wednesday, is when's too big and too expensive.
Yeah.
And it would be definitely be too big, and it'd also put the price a bit too expensive. So you're limiting the buyers by the size and cost.
I think you've got to look at Trumpeter, haven't you? Because they did delve into the big scales as well, because they kind of did some 24 scale single engine fighters like Airfix have done.
Yeah.
But a lot of 30-second sort of jets and obviously props as well. But they never went into 24 scale jets, modern jets, did they? Even like a F-86 Sabre in 24 would be big.
Yeah.
And that's not a massive in comparison to some of the stuff, is it?
No.
Or even a MiG-15. You know, 30 seconds was about the limit, I think. And again, it's going to be costing, isn't it? It's going to be the cost of tooling, cost of design. Because you go upscales, you've got to put the detail in because it's bigger, isn't it? So you're going to have more parts. It's just a knock-on effect. So,
I mean, like you guys own a shop now as well, so you obviously see what actually sells. So I'm pretty sure you guys are probably going to say World War II stuff sells quite consistently well.
To be honest, scale-wise, 30-second. It's niche. It's a niche scale to me.
Yeah.
Especially for sales. 24th is the same as well. It's 48 72nd for aircraft.
Yeah.
That's they're the go-to scales. Again, it's cost as well, isn't it? Again, how how much things are retailed at as well.
Yeah.
People's budgets and whatever, like we've gone about with just that Lancaster that's coming out. Order models Lancaster. We can probably look at the HK one to get a gauge of how well that's sold, to be honest, and why the DAS go with 48.
A Western Wasp Scout and a Western Gannet. Western Gannet. Ferry Gannet. Ferry Gannet that's an iconic British
Aircraft.
aircraft, and I'm surprised that Airfix haven't done it.
Gannet, yeah.
48 Gannet would be. Yeah. Gordon says we should keep asking for suggestions, then when Pramjet blinks repeatedly, we're on to something.
So poker face on, he's not doing anything. Okay.
Oh, I've got a good poker face.
You have to on this show.
Very professional not to give anything away.
Yeah.
I remember one time at Telford, I think it was 2019. Someone came over and then listed like, he's an American person. He's an American person, but he goes, he loves British subjects.
Yeah.
He listed about four. He said about 4 projects, and I think about 2-3 of them were ones that were literally being tooled. I think one of them was a Beaufort that was obviously released. I think one of them was the Vampire as well, which is going to be released soon. So yeah, it was quite funny. He's saying it. It's like, oh yeah. I'll pass that on.
Pass that on, yeah.
I think the message is never play anyone from Airfix a game of poker because you'll absolutely crash him.
I tell you who the worst at it if you know his film.
Me?
Yeah, you'd be terrible.
I can't play poker for coffee.
Will be.
I think when I get a good answer.
That's it. No one tells me anything.
Another call for Western Scout. Gordon says there's a dire need for a new B-17F in 72nd scale.
Yeah, yes. That'd be quite nice. I know I was looking at B-17s because I got the HK one now, the 48. So I thought, let's just see what sort of markings there are. And I've probably got to say, I was a bit surprised by how they're not as probably like colourful, shall we say, as like a Mustang or something like that, where you can get nice colourful ones.
Yeah.
I think that Milk Wagon one's probably the most colourful one that you can get, or the most like boldest, and I thought that would be pretty cool.
I've got to agree with the suggestion for a Stirling and a Halifax, and I know you're going to say, well, like Rebel's done one, and obviously Italy's done this.
72nd as well.
Yeah, 72nd, not 48. Yeah, and obviously like the Sunderland as well, because to me, like, Airfix have got to redo a Sunderland because that's one of their iconic kits from when they first started. And they're going to say, well, Special Lobby's done theirs, and let's be honest, it's not great. Italy's done theirs, and again, it's okay, I've built one, but they don't make money for Airfix, as they say, do they? And I just think it's such an iconic kit from a back catalogue. It would be nice to see Airfix's take on it now. And obviously, there is 1 or 2 that you can go and have a look at. Because that's going to be the trouble with the Stirling and an Halifax. The Halifax that's obviously...
Just mute myself a sec, just whilst I spray this.
Frankenstein, but Halifax, so it's getting accurate sort of data off one, isn't it? That's the problem.
Matt, have you got your mic positioned properly? Because you sound a bit echoey.
No, it's here in front of me. Wow. I've got. I think it's because my nose is bunging up again. I'm going to have to mute myself and change cameras, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Rather than the microphone.
Stuart says that reissue of the Trident in the BAE markings, the red on the top seems to be too dark compared to the Vanguard reissued they did some years ago.
The Trident aircraft.
BAE markings.
Yeah. Is it BAE? Yeah, it is BAE. The red is too dark, he said.
Yeah. Compared to the Vanguard, so maybe the Vanguard was too light, I don't know.
Isn't it just a colour fallout, or is it a decal or something? Or is it a decal?
I imagine it's the decal if it's...
It's got lines down the side, isn't it?
Yeah, there's another call out for an Avro like Manchester.
Manchester?
Okay, I'll pass that on. I'll have a look into it.
That would be a good shout for the Greeble Sig to do a Lancaster-Manchester conversion. It is possible to do that.
Thing is, I suppose it's how many you'd actually sell, isn't it? I
I mean, the
mean,
Manchester was a spectacular failure, wasn't it? Because the engine.
Right. I've got
Oh.
one for you, Ranjit.
You go.
It's not a
Alright.
kit. It's not a kit and it's not a suggestion or anything like that. But obviously, subject-wise,
Yeah.
you've got to be running out for British stuff because your catalogue's pretty big. I know obviously you bring stuff in and out, but obviously now that it's got built up over the years.
Yeah.
And I know like you've concentrated on the iconic stuff. So the pool has got to be getting smaller, surely.
Yeah, I
At
think
one
it's always getting smaller.
I was just,
You know, like an idea of thinking, oh, we'll do that, or why don't we do this? Do you know what I mean? It's
I've got it. 1/24 scale Sopwith Camel.
you see, World War One, you've not been down that
Doesn't
route.
sell though, doesn't it? It just does not sell.
To be honest, it's a bit weird because you do have sort of time, or kind of have time on your side because these projects take so long.
Yeah,
It's really hard to work your way through it. I mean, like if these projects took half the amount of time that they actually do, you would have just probably. I think most manufacturers would have gone through them. I mean, there was this back in the days when Trumpeter, well, I think they were releasing like these brand new kits like literally every month, and it was as in neutral ones as well.
it's true. Yeah, because like them and Nobby Boss were the same, weren't they? And they are really, really, really slowed down.
Yeah.
And
It's
there's
just-
only only versions of a T62 tank you can do, isn't there? Or, you know,
I think what we were talking about the other night, though, the Chinook that they said there's going to be in service for 100 years, was it?
something like
In
that,
one
yeah.
guise or another. I suppose because aircraft are lasting so much longer nowadays,
Yeah, they're not changing.
and it's just like it's more software changes or changes to the cockpit. I suppose it does become a bit of a problem. You know, back in the 60s where the RAF probably had 30 different aircraft and
The same with the US, isn't it? You know, they were changing them like every 2 months, I suppose. There was a new something new. Yeah, it's all
F100, F101, F102, F103, F104, F105. That was like, in 6 months.
Yeah. Interesting.
Gordon says maybe they do more armour than these aircraft suggestions.
actually, Tim asked in our chat, Pramjit, which do you find more enjoyable to design, armour or aircraft?
So I've only done one armor, and that was a Tiger tank. I really do wish I want to. I do want to go back to an arm kit, just because it was a different approach, and that was the Tiger tank was the first one I designed. In terms of enjoyment, I don't know. They're all different. They all have their own quirks. So the shape and everything is a lot easier on a tank. Aircraft is a lot more complicated because you're dealing with the surface modeling, which is a lot more which is like the advanced sort of CAD modeling. I mean, like everyone here talks about like 3D printing and stuff like that, but everyone says that they don't really know how to use the software and stuff like that. Surface modeling is definitely the hardest, or one of the hardest. In terms of what I enjoy, they vary by project, but I would like to do another tank just because it's almost like a redemption project, sort of like it's like building your first kit and then going back to it, like how you're doing the Stuka, like you built it as a kid and then now you've bought it again and building it again. It's just one of those ones where, yeah, I do want to go back and do an armored kit and just see what I've learned over that period of time. But the tracks and everything I remember were really complicated when I was doing it. It was really difficult. But yeah, it would be nice because obviously thinking about a bit more understanding. I mean, like even these Hawks and Spitfires that the guys are building right now, there's things that I would do differently. So, for example, on like the Spitfire, the one that Nathan's building, I've done these like weird diamond locations for the wheels. I thought I was being a bit clever, but in hindsight, obviously, I wouldn't have probably done that now just because thinking about it and obviously understanding the product a bit more and understanding the software a bit more and having more experience, I would do it a bit differently. But it's just one of those ones where, yeah, I enjoy both of them. There's not one I enjoy more than the other, but there are some projects that I do enjoy and areas of projects I enjoy. So cockpits and everything I do enjoy quite a bit. they're quite nice because you can sort of go to town to it a bit and add as much detail as you can. So, yeah.
Just
That's a bit of a
apologies if
long-winded
I've
answer, but yeah, hopefully that answered that question.
apologies if I've just missed some questions out, but my chat moved and I can't figure out where I was. Gordon says, whatever happened to the KT ambulance? I know we talked about this before we came on, didn't we?
Yeah, I assume that'll probably be out sometime next year now, just because of delays and everything that's been going on. So I would imagine sometime next year.
There's
I
one for
don't
you.
know the month and everything like that, but it will probably be next year now.
This is one for you. What 92 says, I'd rather they use the budget for more accurate research.
Wow.
What 92? What do you mean by that exactly? Give us an example. Apart from
That's a big
mosquito,
statement.
apart from mosquito thingy, babe.
Yeah.
That was because you designed that during the lockdown, didn't you?
Yeah, and to be honest,
Go
now
out and about.
we do research, and obviously is a bit hard to come by. I mean, like contacting people as well wasn't easy during lockdown because obviously no one was at work. Well, a lot of people weren't obviously at work. I know some people said, "Oh, why don't you contact a mosquito expert and stuff like that?" But it's like obviously trying to know someone, and obviously someone who wasn't suffering effects with COVID or not even like having COVID, or just someone who hasn't been furloughed and all that sort of stuff. I mean, like to be honest, doing this TV show was actually quite difficult for the person who was doing it, because when he was obviously filming it during lockdown, trying to contact museums and stuff like that, and people were furloughed, so obviously no one's really looking at their working emails and stuff like that. It's just one of those ones that was quite tricky. 100%, I would probably say, yeah, research and everything. I'll probably say, I'm not going to really like cop out on that one, but I would probably say, yeah, that's a bit of a learning lesson for me. I'm trying to obviously understand and get a better accurate kit. We've obviously got a new researcher. I've probably noticed it in some of the magazine, in the Airfix magazine, the club one, and obviously he started fairly recently as well, and his obviously sole purpose is just to research and stuff like that. So
Again, you know when you're doing stuff from museums in your LiDAR, it is a bit of a minefield of original to a Frankenstein plane.
yeah,
definitely. You're relying on a lot of other people, to be honest with you, because there's no way everybody can be an expert on everything that's in the museum. To say, well, this is off a such and such, or we've had to. Do you know what I mean? This is made up of 15 different Spitfires or something. I don't know, but you know, I'm getting that. So again, it's a bit of a sticky wicket there, because you know the age of the stuff that you are releasing as well is now 80-year-old. Say if we're going World War II, it's a long time ago. At the end of the day, isn't it? So original parts or accurate original ones are probably few and far between anyway. I bet they're out there, but you know, otherwise, or you're travelling around to different museums around the world to looking at examples of said aircraft or whatever you're doing, isn't it?
To be honest, research is one of those things where it's very, very difficult to do it, because it is quite tricky. But then it's one of those ones where it's very easy for people just to pick up on something and then sort of go with the flow of people, and obviously pointing out the errors and stuff like that. And sometimes, not just on our kids, but on other kids, I have noticed that some people probably say, "Oh, that's not accurate," but I think it is accurate, but for certain reasons. And obviously, they have done their research. I'm not just talking about Airfix, I'm talking about other companies.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I mean, we're back to again a plastic model versus a real thing. It's a completely different thing. So you know, molding limitations, design, price points, whatever. There's a lot of factors that come in, isn't there? So again, it's
You're in an aircraft that's been built in wartime. There's so many variants on it anyway that, you know, it's sort of difficult to say that it's a definitive whatever, isn't it? Because, you know, it could have changed in the factory one particular day. They might not have had something and they've like changed it slightly, and then, you know, the aerial might have changed slightly, this shape to that shape, and
you know, the way I look at it is like, you know, the experts, so to say, if that's your passion and you know a mark of a you know, a Spitfire inside out, a Mark 1 Spitfire, you know it inside out, that's your interest. But obviously Joe Boggs is probably, it looks like a Mark 1 Spitfire, you know, the dimensions are pretty accurate, cockpit. Do you know what I mean? It's getting to that nitpicky stage of, but then you know, you've just got limitations, full stop.
Yeah,
I mean, 99% of people wouldn't have a clue on an inaccuracy. It's just modern day with the internet and that, you've got that 1% and then everyone picks up on it. It's people, they wouldn't have a clue if you showed them an inaccurate model.
Yeah.
But they know it's inaccurate because they've read it somewhere, or they've seen someone say, this isn't right, that bolt's out of place. And then everyone jumps on that bandwagon.
Yeah. To be honest, me personally, if I don't have a fit issue on a kit, will bother me more than something like that, because obviously the fit issue is quite fundamental with the kit, and obviously the enjoyment of the kit, and that affects everyone. That affects every single person who's building that kit. So that sort of stuff I take probably more pride on. And then obviously research is obviously, I'm obviously not a researcher, I'm a designer. So it's just one of those things where obviously I do have to research the subject and everything, and obviously all the designers have to research the subject that they're doing on. But at the end of the day, you can't exactly become an expert in that short period of time. I know we do these projects for quite a while and do as much research as possible. But obviously trying to get every little thing right, I mean, like, kudos to the people who do the research and all that sort of stuff. But it's a very difficult thing and a very underappreciated, I would say, area of modeling. That, and this is just going across all companies. Researching is not an easy thing, especially for something that, as Matt was saying, is like 80 to 100 years old in touching.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, before modern day computer aided design, even the real thing coming off the production line, one could differ completely from the one that's behind it. You know, when they were all handmade basically and built off of old-fashioned drawings.
Yeah, but during the war, something like a Spitfire, Hurricane, etc., would have been built off jigs, wouldn't it? Rather than actually being truly hand built. Yeah, they were hand put together, but the parts would have been jigged.
But even so, there'd been tiny variations. You can guarantee it.
Do you know what would fix the problem? If you've had a time machine, you can go back in time to the specific date of that aircraft and then get all
photos and measure it.
Take a photo, get all the information, speak to the designer of the actual aircraft.
And at the end of the day, not being funny, you know, sometimes kits have errors on, and it's just a human error. You know, we are people at the end of the day. It's a bit like, you know, when people stick roundels and insignia on back to front or upside down at the wrong angle. If you're that country, you would know that straight away and say, oh, you put the, you know, kangaroo up the wrong side on a Australian, you know, hornet. But I've seen it. But if it's not your insignia, you don't know, and you've placed it down, and it could be literally just something like that. And manufacturing's like that all over the place as well, where it's just an error that's slipped through. That, hindsight's a wonderful thing to go back. But the trouble is, like we said before, modelling is one of those things. You can check your references, you can double check it, you can have other people come in, and it looks good because of the time pressures everybody's on, and time's money at the end of the day, and an error fits through. But then, obviously, because it's a kit that's going to be hopefully around for many years, everyone's like, oh, that area's wrong, and it almost blows it out of proportion to what it actually is. And many a times I've worked with kits and people say, oh, well, that's completely wrong. Well, fix it. You know, it's what you've got. It's got a small little problem with it. And, you know, the biggest companies in the world make them. Tamiya make them all the time. You know, but they don't. It's almost like some companies are forgiven, other ones are jumped on. You know, so.
I mean, I'm doing this job and everything as a designer, and obviously understanding a bit more. I have such a greater appreciation of this sort of side, and I try not to. I'm very less critical on other companies and stuff like that, just because I understand the process now. And I have a lot more respect on that sort of side, on what they do, and
it's that internet thing, though, isn't it? It's easier to be negative than positive about something, and I think that's just the old job. It is, isn't it? Not just with this hobby, but in general, I think, you know, not that, thank God, you've released a 1/7 Bowfort, or or you know, whatever else that we've not seen for either it needed retooling
Yeah.
or the Shackleton. We'll take the Shack for instance. Blimey, you know, how old was the thingy Shack before yours came out again, or a Victor or whatever, and then you're always going to get a minority who just rip it to pieces for the sake of it. I think rather than thinking, well, wow, we've got a new up-to-date one, we can build it, it's going to go together. It's not the old Matchbox kit, say for the Victor.
Yeah.
Fantastic, brilliant. You know, again with the Vulcan.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably another one that people's pick fault with.
Has Nathan just sprayed and decorated
Yeah,
that
that's what I was
Spitfire?
thinking.
I'll
hasn't
tell you what,
I think that's the other one.
he? Is that what you?
these Spitfires build really quick.
It's gone from grey plastic to.
I know. This is a proper Sunday afternoon build. It'll be in pieces by 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I'd say we'd have shot it with an air rifle.
There you go. You get 2 kits in one box, didn't you?
Cumbrian Bullers said, Amjit, how much time did Airfix invest in the new Vulcan?
How much time?
Yeah, say from concept to say the tools being accepted. What sort of time span was it? Do you know?
So I can say from when it started and when it hit the market, I'll probably say about. So when did it reach the market? What, about a few months ago? About 3
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did it start? About 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah,
Yeah. 2.5.
it's a
3 years.
long process, isn't it, to get
Yeah.
get
I mean,
models to.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I actually don't think that is a long time if you work it out.
No. To be honest, and obviously that's obviously from when I found out or when the
Yeah.
design started. So obviously I'm a manager and the researcher and all that sort of stuff, and they've obviously thought about it before that as well. So I haven't included that time. And
Yeah.
obviously, they obviously thought about starting that project before I even started it. So I've been here for 3 years now. So I'll probably say about 3.5, 4 years. I mean, like, it's that thing where you have that sort of list of stuff of
Yeah.
kits you want to work your way through. And obviously some things get bumped up, some things get bumped down for various reasons. So obviously the Vulcan, these projects, you make a decision saying, yeah, that's going to be the project that we're going to go with next. So yeah, I'll probably say about 3-4 years, and if that's obviously including from when they decide. I wasn't around for that sort of time, but yeah, deciding when you want to actually press the button and obviously say, yeah, that's the project that we're going to start researching, because obviously you could do like the 3D scanning and all that sort of stuff as well. That was all done, I think, before I even started.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Asked what if 92 about for examples for when he said that he'd rather did spend some more time on research. And he says it's little gaffs, windscreen wipers on the Vulcan. They keep it from being fantastic.
What's wrong with them?
Windscreen
I was going to
wiper,
say, what's
really?
wrong with them? Seriously, I've just done it. What is? I don't even know there's a thing wrong, and I did them.
Because apparently, looking at our chat, the Vulcans had 3, but the one that Airfix, supposedly the one that Airfix did the research on, had 1 missing.
Isn't that the one at Newark?
But that's just petty.
I was going to say, you're
Sorry.
talking about a tiniest little thing. That's like saying, is an aerial missing? Well, you make one. I was going to say, at the end of the day, honestly, I don't have time for that. That's like one of those ones where it's the tiniest little minute thing. If you're getting down to that level, you know, does that make that IBG tanker unbuildable because it doesn't come with windscreen wipers?
I'm going to go on a little rant here, and I'm going to probably put my foot in it, but all you rivet counters out there that worry about things like that, just like you never actually end up building and finishing a kit because you're too concerned about accuracy, if the likes of Airfix just continually research until they got 100% accurate kit, they'd never ever release anything.
Right.
They'd be gone out of business, yeah.
They'd be out of
They've
business.
gone out of business years ago. So just get over it. You know, it's a bloody windscreen wiper. Who cares?
But thank you from our HR department.
Yeah, moving on. Dan says in Phil's eyes, the Vulcan took 20 years.
Yeah, that's it. Took them 20 years to retool it.
Yeah.
20 years and they missed a wiper blade.
Yeah,
off
they
it.
missed a wiper blade. That's it.
You could always build the old Airfix one.
Oh, has that got all three wiper?
I don't know, but it's got none.
Yeah, but it hasn't even got any on the old one.
No, I've never built it.
DR says that Airfix kits a bit more info on the instructions regarding paint colours would be helpful. It's not as obvious found as with other companies' instructions.
To be honest, that is something I was looking at as well. So I will.
Then it's put underneath think of interiors.
Okay, so interiors and everything, like all the individual dials and everything, we won't do that because that's too subjective and depends on different stuff. So that's kind of up to the modeler. Like, so another thing I was thinking of is like wheels. So if you look at like the Spitfire, it would be quite nice for projects and stuff like that if you highlight the wheel hub and the tire, because sometimes they're a bit tricky in understanding and seeing where the actual line is as well. So stuff like that will probably start adding in future projects.
To be honest, he has got a good point, because can we find
Yeah.
out what the wheel well colour is on a Sea Fury, please?
Okay. But yeah, no, that's a fairly good suggestion and point, to be honest, because I have noticed that on some of the builds. That's even sometimes when I'm building it, I'm like, oh, I don't know what colour that is because it's a bit confusing sometimes. But no, that's a fair point, to be honest.
And Gareth also said Airfix should put equivalent paints of other manufacturers. Others do. Problem is Airfix do their own range of paints, though, don't they? So
Yeah, I mean, Tamiya don't do other
yeah,
ranges.
Rebel don't.
And again, not to sound like lazy on this as well, is that it means that someone's got to do that on an already very busy schedule in their day. I mean, how many times did we say Andy, Matt, and Phil just got up to their neck in terms of stuff they got to do? You got to add another stuff to that. You just for something that doesn't benefit you benefits another customer. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Why are you going to benefit, say, AK paint?
Yeah. We don't
At the end of the day, at least you guys put in now the standard colours, because obviously with the Volcran you've got the British standard colour codes for it, so that's easily transferable to other ones. And obviously if you were doing modern stuff, you could put down the FS numbers, because to be honest, Revell have started doing that now, which is quite helpful, instead of using a bloody paint code that they would give you, because they wouldn't tell you what it was. But nowadays they do tend to put in there that it's federal standard colour, blah blah blah, or if you mix 20 shades of their stuff, you can get halfway close. So
I do kind of get that. Even I was thinking that when I first started, but then when you're thinking about it a bit more, it's like, yeah, it doesn't really make much sense to obviously do. I know, fair play to the companies that do, but then it's just one of those things that doesn't really benefit you. And obviously, it's another thing that we do our own paint range as well.
yeah.
It's just
It's not an Airfix particular
He was
problem, is
asking
it?
how the 72nd scale Tempest is coming along.
I don't know whether I can share it or not. Let's have a look.
Should I show it?
Yes.
Russell does say that if the Vulcan was moulded with one of the missing wipers, then the kit is 100% correct. So it is.
Down again. There you go.
So that's all. We'll start waiting for decals.
That's the new Tempest, is it?
Yeah.
That's another one for Nathan's collection, isn't it, Nathan?
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah, I'm having that.
If you do a size comparison of that and the Spitfire, it's actually quite a lot bigger.
Yeah. Old aeroplane and thing.
Yeah.
I'm having that one. I've got the Typhoon as well. Back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't really
it's a
tell
lot-
too much, but
a
yeah,
lot
it's
more
quite.
chunky.
Yeah.
It's just bigger in sort of all dimensions, isn't it? It's taller.
Yeah.
Yeah, stands on its gear taller, isn't it?
To be honest, when you watch all these programs about like DD and stuff like that, you just see. Or I was watching Band of Brothers, and it's just like one of those things where you just see like typhoons and tempests just like coming down out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing aeroplane. Come out of the clouds and just blow a train to pieces, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching. I think I've seen Band of Brothers, but a really, really long time ago. And I was watching it again. I think I'm on like the 3rd or 4th episode. And there was a point where I think they were retreating or something like that. And in my head, I'm just thinking, oh, do you know what would be really cool if a bunch of like typhoons and tempests just came out of nowhere? It's like one of those it's like a Star Wars film basically, where you're just seeing them towards the end or something, or like a Lord of the Rings or like in Game of Thrones where it's like the reinforcements start arriving.
Yeah.
Captain's
Well,
here,
that's where George Lucas got his idea from, the TIE fighters and X-Wings, where you see them all roll in. So, like he said, he got inspiration. The TIE fighters always fly in a 3-ship as they do. That's World War II aircraft, because it was like that's how they flew. And the bit where the X-Wings all roll in one behind the other, he says that's inspiration from World War II footage of seeing the aircraft, then they all roll in one behind the other, is exactly what it was. And he was saying that's what he grew up with. So from his point of view, when he was doing the films, is that's what he wanted to see. Even though it's technically not correct, because why would you roll it in a 3-dimensional spaceship? So, but it was the way he'd seen them do it, so it seemed to make sense.
Because cinematically it looks cool.
Yeah,
I mean, like, to be honest, Star Wars is sort of how, if I think about how I got into this hobby, I think it's probably got more to do with Star Wars than anything else, because I liked Star Wars as a kid. Then I built a lot of Lego, and then from Lego, you sort of like progress to model kits. It's just one of those ones where
it was mine as well. It was literally, that's exactly, I grew up, Star Wars was my passion as a kid, right the way through, and then a Lego building the ships, if you like, in Lego, and that's literally how I started with it as well. And then, as I say, got into sort of modelling in general, and there still was no Star Wars kits available then, because, say the American, was it MPC, whichever ones used to be the original ones, they weren't available really over here anyway, so, yeah.
I remember, I was thinking about this before I came on air, but in 2005 when episode 3 came out, because I obviously grew up with the prequel trilogy. Is it prequel? Yeah. Or 1, 2, and 3. So those are more my favourite ones. And then I remember in 2005 number 3 came out, so Revenge of the Sith. And I remember buying those because obviously I think Rebel had the licenses for those. Yeah. For the Star Wars stuff. And I remember buying that Venator Star Destroyer and the Republic Cruiser. The one that Rebel reboxed now, I think, and then there was an ATRT as well. I remember building that ATRT thinking, oh, this is going together horribly. And it's one of those things where it's sort of going back to these starter sets. I wish there was a starter set of that sort of thing. Like it's just little stuff like that can sort of put you off the hobby sometimes when you think about it. I remember buying those in Woolworths as well.
Oh my God.
A couple of questions here. Is there any benefits of working for Airfix, Pramjit?
Why what? What do you mean benefits? So nice perks and everything. Is obviously
free healthcare.
Yes, good pension.
It pays its bills every month.
I'm thinking he's probably thinking of going to museums and stuff like that, I assume, and that type of perks.
So I would say perks and everything is obviously knowing what's coming out before everyone else, and obviously building it before everyone knows about it. That's quite nice. Obviously, that sort of side is really, really cool and very underrated. I think how many people have said, oh, you've got a really nice, cool job. It'll be really... I think everyone says it's like a dream job. Like, don't get me wrong, I never obviously dreamed about working here my whole life or anything like that. I think I'm not going to be one of those type of people who like a football player who goes and moves to a club and be like, oh yeah, this is like my dream come true. I wish I've always been thought of playing for this club or something like that. I'm not going to do something like that.
But... transfer to Tamiya next week.
That's it.
I am very appreciative for like the position I find myself in.
That's why he's got Japanese for dummies on his right behind him.
No, it's nice going to shows and everything because obviously it's different when you're going as a member of the public, but then when you're there for the entire weekend or event period, I mean, like, to be honest, my favourite one before COVID, obviously lockdown, was RIA. I absolutely love that. I thought that was brilliant because we were right next to the airstrip. So you're there the whole time. Obviously you're there for the company and obviously selling, so it's really fun. You're there with colleagues, staying in a hotel. I really did enjoy RIA, and I'll probably say those are like the perks of it. If that was what you mean by benefits and stuff like that, those are probably my favourites. Obviously doing the shows and obviously coming on here and doing this sort of stuff. That's a really nice, fun thing to do.
Jamie Haggo's in YouTube chat and he says, hello Pramjit, nice to see you on telly. Hopefully we can catch up in person at a show sometime.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully soon.
He also says, when is the 124 scale Tucano coming out?
never going to let that one go, is he?
That's it. And I can guarantee Pranjit will not be giving out hints about what's coming out.
No hints, no nothing. I've got it is actually, it is one of those things where you got to be really careful. But the thing is, I am careful, but it's just like I'm a very good secret keeper. Just in general, outside work as well, I'm a very good secret keeper.
Can I just make a suggestion? Maybe you ought to LiDAR scan Jamie so that you can have new pilots
Yes,
for releases.
that's it.
He's got his name on the links already.
Yeah,
hasn't he?
that's it. They've got the links, isn't it? So anyway, I've put together and painted, glossed up this one. So he's all glossy and done. I have to say it's gone together really very, very nicely. I do like the stand. The stand's very cool.
Yeah.
Glossed up, very, very nice. Again, it's only literally, I put it together in half an hour. But again, it's fantastic for the kids. And I'm not being funny, if you were after a 70-second hawk, especially if you were doing like I did a couple of years ago, that commission to do 9 of them, I could do this kit. It'd be a lot quicker to put this lot together than it was. I think I used the Revell one last time to do them all. And but very, very nice indeed. Gone together. And as I say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape clean up the canopy because at the moment it's still a little bit wet. But I like that way you've done it, where it slides in and then pushes in and locks on the front tab that holds it in place. So I will scrape clean that up in a minute once it's a bit firmer and do that, and we'll get it deckled later on. But no, it is. It's a very, very nice kit indeed. Do like it.
It's worked out quite
It's got
nicely.
great detail, you know. So very, very good. Excellent.
Ian in our chat asked about what the chances of mass sets for the more difficult canopies.
Probably not, just because that's another entire process.
We spoke about
I
this on
think you
another
said
show,
before,
weren't we? Working out the curves and to do mask sets is like a full-time job on its own.
You have said before, though, haven't you, that your new releases, you send them to like the likes of Edward, don't you?
Yeah, aftermarket
Before they're
companies.
released,
And they obviously they have it so that when it's released, you already have a mask set already, rather than waiting however long, so that you can get you can start building on it straight away. That sort of helps, because obviously aftermarket thing is a completely different ball game. I know people, they go hand in hand, but it is a completely different ball game. Obviously Edward, I mean, like, you guys know how many range Edward is, doing canopies and all that. So I remember you guys were saying like providing the canopy mask in the instructions. So from that point of view, it's difficult to understand and work out the curves and everything, even though you have the CAD. I know it's not as simple as working it all out, even if you have it. To be honest, I don't even know how Edward and all that do it. It's a bit of a mystery to me. I don't know if there's someone sitting there masking it all up and then peeling it off and then laying it down. I don't know, to be honest. I assume that's probably who's doing it. But then if we were to provide masks in the actual kit, it's just, it would obviously, the cost will increase, so the base price of the kit, but then it's just another process and manufacturing thing that will have to be added, and obviously it's already quite stretched and strained with so many stuff being released, and obviously during COVID times. So probably not anytime soon, I don't think. Although it would be nice to obviously have, don't get me wrong, but probably not in our capabilities at the moment.
Cool, very, very good. Excellent. Have we got any other questions around any other one?
Asking about Queen Elizabeth Carrier.
No.
in 1/24.
We got one in 1/32 coming.
48th Lysander. That'd be a good idea.
Isn't Edward reboxed that recently?
Yeah.
Is that from a Hasegawa kit, or is that from a?
No,
That's,
it's from a company called Gavia. They bought the molds from a while ago, but it's it comes and goes. I think they release it and then it kind of goes. You know, they drop it and then it'll come back again. So I don't know how good the molds are now, because it is knocking on, to be honest, that kit.
All joking aside, if someone did a 1970s Art Royal,
I'd like that.
I'd buy one of them.
Well, 1/350 scale.
Yeah.
1/700 personally, but
Yeah. I think
Well,
the
just-
1/350 would be really
just
nice, because
yeah.
you'd get the nice Phantoms on there, the Buccaneers,
Yeah.
as I say, you'd have the Wessexes and that. gannets. Would be nice.
Yeah, my uncle was on that ship.
Yeah.
Back
But
in the
I
day.
think it sort of goes to that thing as well. Is that again, it's going to be a big, expensive project for kits,
Mhm.
and also it's a very niche subject. I mean, like, how many people would actually build it? Probably not many. Even if you were to buy it, but to build it is obviously you get less and less. I mean, like, ships are just niche in general. I mean, I love ships. That's how I sort of got into modeling, well, back into it. So I understand like people's desires for ships because that's one of my passions as well. But it's one of those things from a modeling or a business point of view. Probably not so much. I mean, like, the guys here own a modeling shop as well. I mean, like, how many ships do you guys sell?
No, this is it. Yeah, it is.
I think it's
very
an
niche.
age thing as well, because I just remember going on it a couple of times when we used to do like Plymouth Navy days.
I mean, I love it. I mean, I love ships. Don't get me wrong. And you need railing for it. You need photo etch railing for it to actually pop. Or some other photo etch sort of stuff. But yeah, ships are one of my favourites. But
Brian's asking, now that you've redone the Vulcan, how about a new tool in 1/12 scale Bentley?
what's the Bentley that just came out? Isn't that 1/12? Or are you thinking about basically that same one, but just a neutral?
Yeah, I think all about a new tool version of it.
Yeah, that's long in the tooth, that one, isn't it?
That's very long in the tooth, that kit. Couple of questions here, which are just Sue. Sorry if it's been asked before, but when will the 2022 catalogue release be announced?
January. I haven't gotten a date, but it's early January.
And we've got there, if you had a wish, which kit would you want to design and see produced? From Andrew.
1/350 Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, there you go.
I know that sounds like really hypocritical, but yeah. I even say to the guys as well. I mean, from a business, it's like my heart says yeah, let's do it. My brain says no.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be honest, doing a carrier, because I would know, like, I've got an idea of how I would want to do it and stuff like that. But yeah, or to be honest, I wouldn't mind tackling like a 1.4 scale kit now. I think that's probably like one of those things where I kind of want to do now, just to sort of like complete an accomplishment of like lists of like stuff to do. It's like a to-do list of like stuff you want to tick off. Having a 24 scale kit now, I'm thinking, yeah, I think I'll be quite happy to do it now. What subject I'm not sure, but a 24 scale kit. So.
I suppose that's the holy grail, because you know full well it's the top tier kit from the range and everything else, isn't it? So, you know.
It's like doing like one of these like 24 or 32nd scale kits and then throwing all the aftermarket.
So try not to pin you down totally, because you know I won't do it to you. But if I was to say to you, in the next 10 years, will Airfix be releasing another 24 scale kit? Is there any plans?
But I'll probably say within the next 10 years.
Within the next 10 years, there will be another one coming out.
Yeah, I would imagine in the next 10 years. Well, I would hope so.
Right, okay, that's fine. So now we can say, right, 8 years, 7, 6. So, yes.
To be honest, you don't want to do these 24 scale kits so close to each other as well, because obviously you need to try and. They take a long time to design. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. They take a lot of energy to design it from the designer's point of view. I know, let's just say, what was the MRAP that you were doing? I mean, like, that sucks a bit of mojo out of you, shall we say?
Yeah,
I mean,
does,
as designers, we have mojo as well, but obviously we can't just be like, oh, you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go design something else. You can't do that. I mean, like, you've got to obviously see that project through, and these are the sort of things that you're doing day in, day out. So it does take a toll, and obviously from a finance point of view, research point of view, you don't want to obviously release them so soon after each other.
Yeah, cool. Very good. We did have a question before, but I can't remember what it was now. It was about your classic series of stuff, but I seem to have lost it. So if that person wants to post that up again, somebody was asking about classics. I don't know if it's in the forum as well. Hold on, let me just check. It was something about the classics.
The molds for the classic tool ships.
I don't know actually. Hold on, I've got about 8 million tabs open on my screen. This is the trouble.
One of the guys, Kimberly and Bull, says, Premier, how much it costs to make a new molding tool?
So they vary differently. Obviously, like a Star say is a bit more cheaper than say a classic kit, not by much, but they vary. They're in the tens of thousands of pounds, and obviously can go up well over 100 grand easily. I mean, like easily, they're very, very expensive. So obviously, you've got a lot of pressure to obviously choose the right subject and obviously design it well, because it's a massive investment. I mean, like that's like, you know, that's usually like someone's whole salary for the entire year, an average salary for the entire year if you were to have it. So obviously you've got to be quite careful with the money. Obviously that's taken up a bit higher above than me, so I don't need to worry about that. But it's a lot of money invested, and obviously you're releasing multiple kits, new toolkits and stuff like that. That doesn't account obviously for the production costs. That's just the tooling cost as well. So yeah, it's expensive.
It was GHC 347. I asked when Airfix marks a kit as vintage classic.
When is it marked as a vintage classic?
Yeah.
Or how is when it's a bit older in the tooth? I don't know what. I don't think we have a specific year of when it sort of cuts off at that point. But
I don't think the Spitfire and Hurricanes and 109s are marked as vintage classics. Are they the 24 scale things?
Yeah, they are. I think
Are
they
they?
are. Yeah, I think they have got the vintage classic on the boxes of those ones.
Yeah, no, I think we have.
Yeah, or certainly the you know, as they've been re-released over the last few years. I think the newer ones have definitely got vintage classic on them. At least I saw a Spitfire the other day and that had it on it. Which is fair enough.
Graham's asked the question, it's one we've discussed in the past, is that following from Tiger Moth and the Chipmunk, would Airfix consider doing the Bulldog?
In 48?
Yeah, the Bristol Bulldog, yeah.
Scottish Aviation.
All right, Scottish Aviation's one, yeah.
No, I'll pass. I think that was released recently in a vintage classic, but as a new toolkit, I'll pass that on.
It follows on from the trainer.
Yeah, trainer.
Yeah, someone was saying earlier about that, the classic sort of RAF trainers, the Provost, Bulldog,
To
48 scale.
Hartford.
Piston Provost. There's quite a few actually when you go through them all. Alan saying, that's what it was, I found it. It was saying, would you consider bringing back classic ships as Airfix did with the aircraft, which he remembers from his younger days?
So someone was asking, has Airfix got the molds for the classic tool ships? I assume they're talking about like Cutty Sark, is that?
Maybe, yeah.
So those ones are actually in the range. So as vintage classics. There are some like 1/400th and 1/700th scale kits as well, ships. In terms of new tool, I highly doubt it, to be honest. Just be quite open and honest. As vintage classics, I think there are some in the range, so have a look and see if those are some of the ones that you're looking at. So yeah.
Mark's asking about a range of 148 scale Cold British vehicles like the Chieftain, 432, Saracen.
In what scale, sorry?
148.
Probably not. I mean, like we're doing a range of 35th scale stuff, isn't it, with like the Academy reboxes. So 48th scale, probably not so much. I can imagine it's like us doing 32nd scale aircraft. I mean, I think we did do a 48 Warrior, I believe, isn't it? I think I can't remember now.
Yeah, Jackal, the Coyote.
Yeah, maybe
Warrior.
I'll pass that I'll pass that suggestion for 148 scale, more AFEs and stuff like that, like Chieftains and Jackals. So yeah.
BNT says, any suggestions for a amateur hobbyist making space-related garage kits and wanting to scale it into a business? Yes, there's a big step up from doing garage kits to plastic injection molded kits, isn't there?
Yeah.
Or even casting your own resin ones.
Imagine if he's doing garage kits, that's probably what he's doing.
Yeah, I assume he's doing it. Because I build lots of garage kits. You know, I've got loads of them down in there, just in little white boxes, all wrapped in tissue paper.
You
Accompanying
got that resin
flash.
X-Wing as a garage kit. I remember that. You still got that, haven't you?
I've still got the X-Wing. Yeah, well, the guy who made that one died. So it's probably
right.
worth more now not being built than it is. So,
I would imagine the number one tip is get very friendly with your bank manager, isn't it?
yeah, find a rich relative. Because that was one of the questions down there. How much does it cost to make a kit? But again, that depends on obviously the scale for one, because obviously tooling costs depend. If you're doing 72nd stuff, it's quite cheap. 24th scale and Vulcans and things, I imagine you're running into the over 100,000.
Yeah.
Would you honour John Buller by releasing the Royal Mail van, preferably with a cat?
We can LiDAR scan John as well.
Yeah, that's just it.
You need to have a flat tie with it and a
Yeah.
angry-looking, very hot person. in
Yeah.
it.
Did you? I take it you got quite soaked yesterday because it was raining all day yesterday.
Yeah, I got absolutely drenched.
To be honest, I drove past. So I went food shopping in the morning, and there must have been about, for some reason, I don't know why, but there were like 4 or 5 Royal Mail people walking around in like a fairly close vicinity, and they were wearing shorts and everything. So I was like,
When you come on in the evening and you got these three moaning about what a tiring day they've had, sitting in their nice, warm little man caves or offices, and you've been traipsing around in pouring rain all day.
No comment. I'm not even going to bite. There's an interesting one. On the programme about Hornby and Airfix, Jay May presented, he mentioned that the old owners of Hornby threw away a lot of the old train moulds. Did this happen with the Airfix moulds as well?
I believe so. Yes, I don't know which ones, but a lot of molds were scrapped by one of the previous regimes. This is before I actually started.
Yeah, I think, wasn't it when they moved out of Margate originally?
Yeah.
I think a lot of the stuff was scrapped, wasn't it?
Yeah. Very controversial and sore subject for some people in the company still.
Yeah. I can imagine that. Any plans on Airfix including mask sets and etch brass? I think we've covered that. No.
It would be cool to add, don't get me wrong, but it's just probably not in our
They
capability.
did do it back in was it the 80s they did it? They had their like high-tech kits, wasn't it, which had etched brass in it.
Okay.
Comes out to a cost point again, though, doesn't it? You know, the more you add to it, the more it's going to cost, and then
It's also you got to find someone to actually do it. that's
Yeah.
also the hard part as well.
Do you ever get involved with any of the other Hornby companies, Pranjit?
Not really. I know some people kind of do in terms of the teams and stuff like that. I mean, like, to be honest, so if no one knows, the way the Hornby umbrella works is that we're all in one building. So we're sitting next to Corgi, and then downstairs is Scale Electric and Hornby, as in the Hornby rail team. Pre-COVID, we were all together in one like office, but then obviously after COVID, things needed to be a bit more spaced out to give like their social distancing rules. I think most people sort of like interact with each other in terms of work-wise. There's normally, I personally don't get as much involved, but I know members of the team do and all various stuff. And obviously, you're all sort of doing the same job, if that makes sense, bringing a product out, and they all sort of fall under the same category on like your challenges and difficulties and stuff like that. So in that sort of sense, yeah, I think they do work quite closely. Not closely, but they do work with each other.
So is there any crossover between the Corgi die-cast models and obviously with your side of it?
A bit, yeah. I mean, like, because obviously we've got the CAD data, so
Yeah.
you would obviously use that, isn't it? So that obviously helps Corgi and Soul side. So yeah, it's one of those ones where obviously, let's just say, I don't know, let's just say, you know, we use the Hawker as example. Obviously, there's no point of them getting the information for the Hawk and stuff like that, because we'll probably have the information for a Hawk or a Spitfire.
Yeah.
So in that sort of sense, it works quite well. I mean, like, help each other out, and obviously, I know Scale Electric don't do aircraft, but if they ever wanted to do an aircraft as a Scale Electric car or something like that, then obviously we've got the information to help out and stuff like that, and vice versa.
Cool, makes sense. Question: best kit for the following aircraft: Eurofighter Typhoon, RAF Luftwaffe, MiG-29, Polish or German, Hawk, T1, 1980s, followed by the Nat, and some Hataka paint sets for the RAF trainers ones.
Depends on what scale you want.
Oh, what scale? Yeah, depends on all the different ones. But again, literally what scales, isn't it? It's the, if you're thinking 72nd, 48th. 48th would be Revell for your Typhoons, isn't it?
Yeah.
MiG-29s.
Great Wall Lobby.
Great Wall.
Yeah. And then obviously Hawk. Who does a 48 scale Hawk?
It's a Leary do one. Airfix did one, didn't
Yeah, I see Airfix did one, didn't they?
they?
Hobby Boss.
I've done lots of Airfix Hawks over
Oh,
the years.
Hobby Boss do a T1.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do, but you have to shave it all because it's got the other wing on it.
The Nat Airfix.
And that is done in 72nd and 48th.
I think we've answered this one before because Mark's saying about why doesn't Airfix do 1/32nd scale? Just never have you? That's the point. You've always gone.
It's kind of felt like the 24 scales are like our scale.
Yeah, and nobody really does 24 scale. I know a couple of the companies, Trumpeter did it for a bit, didn't they? And then they dropped it. So.
Yeah, it's like you sort of got your own corner, if that makes sense, with 24 scale.
Yeah,
I mean, like
the thing is, you've carved that niche since the 60s.
Yeah.
So it's always what it's been, isn't it?
I think Matchbox were doing 24 scale kits as well, wasn't they? Were they doing 24?
32nd.
32nd.
Second.
Jeff says, got to go. He'll catch up with the show later, but thanks to us all, Flory Models for putting the weekend together and for Pramjit for taking out the time this afternoon. Have a great day.
Phil.
Indeedy, no problem, Jeff. Have a good one.
Phil, as we've got less than an hour to go,
Yes.
can we just have a quick run around the shops?
Sorry, is he on commission again? Andy, have a word. Right. A word from our sponsor.
Yeah, but it is Andy who's having a word.
Yes. Have to have a serious talk after the show. Right, okay, so don't forget, the reason we're all here is to spend money. So PM Stores has got 10% off all kits, so you can grab yourself anything from the store and it will get automatically put on at the end. But they've also got up the specials as well. So down in here, obviously we've got the kits. These, you don't get 10% on top. This is the price you pay. These are our special lines. So various ones all the way down in here. As you can see, we've got some nice Zucamori apparently. Andy says they're brilliant. And lots of other kits as well besides. And a couple of the damaged boxes. Look, somebody's going to have to buy that one day. The damaged box one. We've had that for ages. So, but yes, all of those down in there, as you say, you can go off, grab those. What time is the thing ending? The sale ending?
5 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Okay, I'll do mine.
5.
I'll do mine. 9.
5.
5. Jesus, I give up. I don't know. I'll work with you lot. Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right. Okay.
8 o'clock.
When everyone stops buying, we'll end it. Anyway, I've got a sale on as well at the Flory Model Store for you guys in the UK. As I say, I don't know how many of you've got these left. Let me refresh the page. We've got 15 left of the big sets. They're just about a tenner off. The Sanders are all at £5. So they're normally sort of £5.50. The washes as well. There's a big save. It's a £10 reduction on the 8 set of washes, and all the other washes at £4.80 instead of £6. And the bottles, which we were talking about a lot today as well, they're discounted. They're down to £3.95 instead of a £5 on those. And my sale will end sometime this evening, probably, when I've sorted all this out, get sorted, and then close it all down. Wash sets, unfortunately, you're out of the big wash sets. They've all gone, and then these are what we've got left as well. So grab those as well. They're £3.95. If you're in the EU, don't forget that our friends over at Serious Models, they've got 15% off blanket discount across Flory Models range. So if you want to get anything from them, you just pop across to Serious Models. If you're inside the EU, they're our official EU distributor. So if you want to stock your shop with them as well, have a word with Serious Models and they'll sort you out there. If you're in North America, don't forget Brett over at High Altitude Hobbies. He's doing the sale as well. So if you're in the US, you can get it all from him. He's got all the stuff down here as well. Don't forget, and we'll have a look at towards the end of the show, you can actually get involved with us as well. Click on to the official Flory Models, just hashtag us in and put your work up. We've got some of those to look at in a moment. So before we finish the show out, we'll be having a look at those as well. So if you're going to get involved with that, it'd be lovely to see you along there. Is that all right?
Thank you very much.
Very good.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Can I have a biscuit? Or get a medal like Muttley?
Yes.
So, yes. So, what's, technically, we're coming out of COVID, hopefully now, Pramjit. Have you got any plans for doing shows and air shows and stuff like that next year? Is it sort of going to get back to normal? The Airfix Road Show?
Hope so.
That's it.
I mean, I know some people have said it in the chat as well, is that unfortunately we won't be attending Telford this year, just due to the uncertainty around COVID. We would, but the team is looking forward to meeting everyone once we are allowed, and it's obviously safe to do so, but yeah, unfortunately we won't be here at Telford this year.
Oh, right, so okay. You're with us. You haven't told them all, we're all on a party bus somewhere. So yes, all right, okie dokie, but that's good. Nathan will be though. Nathan, you're still muted. Quick, unmute him.
I will be there with a somewhat trimmed down rough sig.
One kit.
Yeah, he's going to have one kit. He's going to have a cattle prod and a shield. Get back!
And the lightning sig will be there as well. With it, the lightning will be just Phil's lightning on a table on its own.
Oh, is that it? Fair enough.
I mean, I'm sure it's the same with you guys. If things improve over the next year or so, then we will start obviously going to shows again.
Yes.
Obviously, it's quite uncertain. I mean, it's entering the winter period as well. I think a lot of people are saying that it probably might get a bit worse, but if hopefully Telford's on next year and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully we'll be the next year. To be honest, I'm itching to go. I'm kind of itching to get back to shows and stuff. I remember when someone asked what's the benefits or perks of the job. Obviously, going to shows is one of them because I do enjoy them. I was a bit gutted that Riat was cancelled because I was like, that was the one I was looking forward to. I mean, like, if anyone has been to Riat, if you're there for like the 3-4 days, it's tiring, don't get me wrong, but it is pretty cool when you're standing there next to an airfield and an Su-27's like rolling around and stuff like that. It is cool.
It's the bit where you start standing towards the door of the tent so you can talk to the people and watch the show. That's the only trouble. You're stuck inside the marquee, you can hear it and can't see it.
Yeah, and I think everyone runs out as well out of the marquee.
Yeah.
That's what you tend to find at Riat. As soon as something big and loud goes thundering down the runway, all the little marquees and that empty. You see all the traders stood by the door as well, seeing it. So
Yeah, hopefully
right, when we went, we were waiting for the F-22 to take off.
yes. If you remember when we actually got in there, the tornado, was it the Italian one, was flying, and you couldn't even see him. It was just, and there he goes, and there's a flash of, literally, the cloud base was so low, and he did a full display and then came in and landed, and nobody saw him do it. And, as I say, the F-22 couldn't fly because of the weather, and you're thinking, hold on, how many billions is that? And it can't fly. The tornado, the Italian tornado did it.
Yeah, they sent a P-51 up to check the cloud cover, didn't they?
Yeah, well, they were going to be both together doing a routine together, so the P-51 went to make sure it's okay.
All the fancy aircraft that wouldn't go up because of the bad weather, and wasn't it a Finnish display team or something said, no, we'll go up?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah, the Finnish Hawks, wasn't it? They went up.
Yeah.
Yes. Here's a little bit of bad news. Apparently the Elstree Model Show is cancelled due to the fuel shortage.
Yeah.
All right.
How many guys do for fuel around you where you guys are?
We're fine here, to be honest.
We're swimming in it. I don't know what to do. We've got that much fuel.
We've been dodgy up until probably yesterday, to be honest with you, where I am.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think
Struggling getting it.
southeast is like one of the worst, and
Yeah.
I live in southeastern London, so my family home is in London, and then obviously I live here for work in the southeast. So it doesn't help that both of those places are running low on fuel.
Yeah, I'm in East Midlands, and we were short. Say up until yesterday, I think we were struggling. But yeah,
Because forget
Wasn't
about
good.
the lines, they're just empty now. They're just like out.
So post you up some jerry cans then, Pramjet.
Yeah. Well,
Around Doncaster, they've still got fuel enough for the petrol bombs when people turn up at the petrol station with crates. They've got to keep that going for the night antics that go on around there.
there's only so much petrol people could put in the tanks, isn't there?
Well, you would have thought, but what's happening is apparently people keep just brimming up.
topping up.
Oh look, I've got like 3/4 of a tank. I better get some, just in case they
Yeah.
run out. It's like, oh my god. But no, we're lucky here. I'd say we've got 2 petrol stations. You know, literally the end of the industrial estate here.
Yeah.
One at the bottom didn't have fuel, but it was only for a couple of hours. But the big one that we've got here, it's no problem at all. So
You know when there's fuel because the whole place is gridlock.
yeah, that's it. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah, you can't go any. You know that's when the fuel is in the petrol station.
Mind you, Andy pointed out that one earlier. Some bloke followed a petrol tanker and got irate because it was empty. Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Apparently, those Finnish Hawk displays team, they display at night as well. There you go. See, that's what we're missing. Nighttime
All
aerobatics.
mason lights go backwards and forwards.
Right. I can see a flaw with that somewhere.
What? Hitting the ground or not being able to see them?
Perhaps a bit of both, but yeah. What's the point of doing it in the dark?
Put slime lines all over it.
Yeah, that's it. They had slime lines all over them.
Are they little like Christmas trees or something?
Yeah.
So you can see them.
Instead of trailing smoke, they have to trail lights.
Yeah, well, that'd be
It'd be
interesting.
cool if they had flares and things popping off, and
We could just trail some fairy lights off the tail, couldn't we?
It must be a reason for them actually doing display in the dark, surely.
Yeah, but I suppose they're from Finland. They're used to it.
Well,
They're
yeah.
in darkness half the year, aren't they?
Yeah,
True.
that'd be true.
So Pramjit, I'll roll that to a slightly different question. What kit are you building for yourself that's non-work related?
So I get that quite often. So long-term projects, which I haven't really touched in a long time, is
Shelf of Doom.
not really. Well, one of them is Shelf of Doom, the 1350 USS Enterprise
Oh,
by
right, yeah.
Merritt. That's more of a Shelf of Doom, I would say, just because it wasn't an easy kit to go together.
No.
Then I got the Tamiya 1350 Yamato, the neutral one.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost done. To be honest, I was planning on doing the rigging for it, but I think I'm just going to finish without it. Just got a few bits and bobs to put on there, but that's a really, really nice kit. I've got the Zucchimori, the one that Andy's pushing is the Zucchimori F4E Phantom.
Right.
It's in Greek markings.
Nice.
I've got the Hobby Boss SU27. And then I've got a AFV 135 Striker.
Nice.
So that was a quite funny one because I've done the Striker because when I was back home for Christmas, I was playing Call of Duty on PS3 because I was playing Modern Warfare 2, and there's a striker in there called Honey Badger.
Yeah.
So I had like a massive urge to go build that, so I went and bought that kit. Yeah. But yeah, those are probably more not. I do have some stuff that I do want to crack on with in terms of I want to do the V22 Osprey, the Hobby Boss one, and then I do want to do a 48, either the Lancaster or the B17, the one that you've done.
So there you go. That just asks a question here. What is your thoughts on the border models, Wingnut Wings, 32nd Lancaster being 700 quid?
I think that's a sensible price. Obviously, understanding from my point of view, like design costs and all that sort of stuff, I think that's a sensible price. Whether it's worth it or not is up to the individual person. Would I buy it? No. Is it a great kit? Probably, yeah. I mean, like the surface detail from a design point of view, that stress skin and oil canning is absolutely amazing. I think I know the skill it takes to obviously do that. It does look like a nice kit. If they have the nose section, I probably would buy that. Got to say,
Yeah.
but I probably wouldn't put the fuselage on. I would probably have one fuselage half off so I can see inside properly. But would I buy it? Probably not.
I'll
But
tell
it
you
is
what,
like-
I have seen. It changes up a little bit, but I don't know if anyone else has seen it. But not sure if it's CAD or someone's built it, but all they've done is the internal skeleton for it. So the
Or the-
engines are all exposed. It's basically got the wing sections on, but the fuselage isn't. So
Yeah.
it's got all the formers and all the detail right the way through, and it looks like it's been skinned. The detail in there looks absolutely amazing. I know we've been speaking about that. Apparently, it doesn't have as many internal parts as the HK one, but looking at that, it looked amazing. You know, if you was to do it as literally the formers and the bomb bay underneath, but as it is like naked almost without the skin on it, it looks stunning. You know, I think that's the engineering side of me, and probably Pranjit would appreciate that side of it as well. You know, from all that internal details being shown through of the work that would have gone into it, to do it.
Yeah, it takes ages to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It takes ages to do that and get it right, and obviously make sure the fit and everything is okay. But yeah, it does look really, really nice and everything. Don't get me wrong, but for obviously price and obviously where you're going to put it and stuff like that. I mean, to be honest, I think majority of people will probably buy it, but then have it in the stash and obviously have it so that in the future, if they do want to obviously build it, they have the opportunity to. But it's a really nice kit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say anything like that, but I think everyone probably here probably thinks the same thing as well. It's a great kit. I mean, we all saw it at Telford a few years back, and it does look fantastic. But it's obviously not really my sort of thing to build.
No. I'll tell you what I will say though, everyone jumped up and down about the oil canning, the stress skin effect on the actual Wingnut Wings Lancaster. But honestly, you guys did it before that on the Typhoon. Because that's got it all over it as well. But a lot of people didn't weather it to sort of really highlight it. And I think the reason the Lancaster, you see it is because of the black on the sides and things like that. It really highlights it and you can see it really, really well. But you guys did it to the Typhoon. Sorry, the Typhoon, which is how old now? That's a few years ago now.
Yeah, so a little bit interesting story is that so obviously that was the first time we done it, and to be honest, it's one of those things where even if you get it 3D printed, as in for our SLA, our prototype, you still can't see it properly.
Yeah.
So it comes in tooling. So what obviously we done before when that project was being done before that, I wasn't here, but they done different types of stress skin and rivets and all that, and the sizes and all that, and we got a small section of it tooled by a tool maker and then obviously just to see what that looks like.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was quite an interesting thing. I haven't seen it, but it was one of those things because we've never done it before. It was like we need to test it out because there's no point of spending so much, like well over 100 grand on a 24 scale kit doing this oil canning and stress skin, and it comes out really rubbish or it doesn't even come out at all.
Yeah.
So we tooled like a very small section of it just to see what it looks like and how it comes out. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
But again, it's one of the, and I know Neil's just put out there, I remember Phil doing the review for it and spending 15 minutes gushing over it. And it was true because, again, in 24th scale and like in 32nd scale, you can really see it and appreciate it because it's quite strong and in your face. And obviously, when you start to shrink it down, although it's probably really hard to do it at smaller scales, you don't really see it. It gets smaller and smaller until it's not really a visible thing. And that's why I wouldn't bother trying to put it on like a 72nd scale Lancaster because I don't think you'd ever see it anyway at that scale particularly well. But again, I remember seeing it on the Typhoon, and when you, especially just in the plastic, it really pops. You know, like even on mine now, when you look at it, because it's all painted and it's weathered in, it's one of those things where, you know, and I do a lot better job at it, I think now. But catching things in the light, if it's just matte coat, it just blends in. But again, you know, I've seen pictures where, you know, somebody's actually almost polished it a little bit to get the reflectivity of it. And on black and things like that, where it's one tone of it, it stands out really, really well and looks very, very good. But again, that's something where Airfix is sort of, you know, oh, stress skin, it's fantastic. Well, hold on, Airfix did it best part of 10 years ago now. on the Typhoon. It's probably over 10 years by the time the tooling time and design time went into it as well, you know. And that kit was, you know, I thought well ahead of its time for something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we need on the 24 scale Hellcat as well. Probably not as much as on the Typhoon, but yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, like, it's not an easy thing to do from a design point of view. It's actually quite tricky. And obviously, you don't want to make it all uniform, isn't it?
No, that's right.
You got to sort of like break it up and then do some panels, not on the others, and
Absolutely,
do it slightly nice. To make it look more natural.
Yeah, if you did it all over Universal, it would just look horrible, I think. It is that very subtle difference in the sizes of them and also the shapes of them and things like that, which is obviously what Wingnut One has done to theirs, and it looks absolutely fantastic. But again, that's an area which probably took months to do, you know, and the cost and tooling and design just to do that parts of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, they sort of took it off, I don't know how you pronounce it, Qatari models. When they announced their Spitfire, they had a little... like a little zoomed in bit of the wing fillet, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Where the pins and there's little stress, and I was like, wow, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, that looks incredible. And it's like, obviously that team who's done the Lancasters obviously passed that on or figured out how to do it.
Yes.
And then done it there.
No, it is. It's very, very cool.
So I've got a question. Well, it was in our chat. Has being a designer made you a better modeler?
So I built a lot more models since I've been working for it. I mean, like, I remember, what was it? It was last year or the year before, I was telling you guys how many kits I built. And I must have built about 30, 35 kits, and that included about 3 Hellcats. So that's more model kits that some people build in an entire lifetime. Better modeler because I'm a designer?
Yeah, because of your designing, has it made you a better modeler? That was the question in our chat.
A bit, yeah, probably. But I would probably say it's maybe a better designer that I am a modeler. More so, better modeler than I am a designer, if that makes sense. So more the other way around, as in, it's made me a better designer than I am a modeler. And obviously understanding, I've been going on about how many things I try and introduce and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a good question, actually. I've never actually thought about that. I know I've built a lot of models over the years just because I'm enjoying it. I mean, like, you can see all my setup, like my spray booth and everything there. Probably, yeah. Probably without me thinking about it, it probably has.
I think you've answered the question after as well. Do you still have mojo to do modelling after a full day's work? You know, hobby work thing.
Yeah. Although, to be honest, I've got to be quite careful with that because obviously I mean, I feel it's the same situation more or less as well. Probably not as much as, I'm not in the same situation as Phil, whereas you're doing it full time. Like, I know you're not doing it full time as in you've got other things to do, like accounting and all that sort of stuff. So it's not like 9 to 5, you're doing modelling straight. But it's one of those things where you take your hobby and do it as your job. You got to make sure you don't lose the love of your hobby.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that I've often said that, and you will be the same when you're as old and grey as I am. It's that thing. It is a balance. People talk about a work-life balance, but when your hobby and your passion is also your job, it's getting that balance right as well. And I often say it's like it's a pyramid effect, because you've literally got family life, you've got your job, and you've got your hobby, and they all interact in this game, because obviously we socialize together as friends and family, as well as it's our job, and there's money involved and all things like that as well. And it's quite a delicate little balance just to make sure all 3 of those work without one treading on the other, if you know what I mean. And that's the thing to it. And luckily for me, like, often people have said to me, like, you know, I don't know how you can just keep building, and especially if you're not really into it and that. And I often joke and say, but it's my job. You know, would you not, if you're a truck driver, if you're having a bad day, it doesn't mean you can just not drive a truck, you know. Or if you're a doctor, you can't say, well, I'm not going in, you know, because it is your job. So you have a level of commitment to what you do. But again, it's having that balance of coming in and having that passion to say, oh, I can't wait to do that. I'm going to be decaling that and all the rest of it, you know, and that is the thing to it. But, you know, again, it's that thing of just not doing it that little too much to burn yourself out, that suddenly it's an annoyance, you know, and it upsets you to do it, you know.
What's that passion? Sorry, Bradley, the passion to do decaling. says nobody ever.
Well, it could be worse. It could be the passion to go and re-rivet or re-scribe.
So when I build model kits, even whether they're Airfix or, to be honest, more other people's kits, the way I think about it is obviously the way I design, with the way I build kits is obviously to understand what's going on in the market, and I can apply that to my designs. So if another company, I'm not going to go, be like, copying it completely, perhaps. But the thing is, the way I think about it is that that company has, or the designer of that kit has done something well that I think works together well. So I would obviously do the same thing, and it's not like a copying thing. It's just more like paying a homage to that kit, or that aspect of the kit, obviously applying it to mine. So in that sort of sense, that sort of helps build my mojo and helps me not burn out, because I'm thinking I've got to build other people's kits, and not just Airfix kits, but other manufacturers, so anyone's. And it's just so that you can become a better designer and obviously give the best kit and best experience for the modeler. It's just one of those things. That's what spurs me on.
Okay, one question for me then. Are you now technically, officially Airfix's model builder? Because let's face it, you did the Vulcans for them, you did the Hellcats. Obviously you've done your own, I appreciate, but you've done other designers. Does this now make you sort of the official, unofficial Airfix builder?
Probably, yeah.
Not on the job title.
But does that then put a little bit of pressure on you, especially if you're building another designer's kit, to then be thinking, if I designed that, there's no way I would have done it that way. I would have done it this, because to build it's a freaking nightmare that way. Does that ever crop up?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, there's always different ways that different approaches. It's not like maths where there's one. Well, it's similar. It's like maths basically, where there's one answer, but there's different ways to get to that answer.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, doing 2 + 2 and equals 4. You can get, how do you get to 4? You can do 2 squared, or you can do 3 + 1, or you can do 2 + 2. You can do 4 + 0, or you can do the square root of 16 to get 4. It's just like there's so many different methods to get to that final result.
Yep.
That there's so many different ways, and obviously there's so much more compared to model kits. So
I'm writing all them down in case they're in one of Nathan's
questions. Yeah.
I've never done a maths question. You've got off laughing.
I'm not gonna lie, that quiz was actually really hard yesterday. Even I was like,
That was the hardest one we've ever done.
Yeah.
Quiz. I thought I was on some game show.
I didn't even
You must have got.
the sea, it's split into quadrants or like areas, and then that bit was called Viking. I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah. That was a hard question. I'll not deny that one.
Yes. We got any other questions in there?
So I only started building it because the sprues and everything was there. Like, as in, there's a 24 scale Hellcat, and I saw the designer building it, so I got one of his test shots and obviously just started building it in my own leisure, my own time. And obviously then that's when they started using it and for like marketing purposes, and that's how I sort of became like an unofficial official/unofficial Airfix builder.
Well, it's a nice position to be in, isn't it?
It's a nice thing to do anyway. And like I said, it's like one of the perks. I think they're getting quite hungry, Molly, and
it
The
is.
dogs are coming in.
yeah, the
aren't
dogs.
Yeah, it's getting near that time. I've got the oldest one, shall we say. Lola knows better. She's sat in the doorway because she knows she's not allowed in here when I'm filming. But Dopey, you haven't got a clue. So it's like, what? Definitely. Right, shall we have a look at some other people's work?
Yes.
Let me just refresh this one, and then Pramjit can cast his eye over it as well. I've got to remember where we got to. So, right. So we have, I think we looked at the bikes, didn't we? So this will be the next one. Hold on. That is a bit bigger this time. So I think we're okay. Right. Okay. So this is Mark, and this is the 4000K Blood Angels. It's the only trouble with these pictures, isn't it? They sometimes they crop them out.
that's a good film, isn't it? The red's a
Nice
tricky
painting.
colour to do.
Ever do any figure painting, Pramjit?
Yeah, so when I done the 24 scale Hellcat, I done them two in flight.
Right.
So not as in proper figures like this, but I actually took the Typhoon pilots and painted those up in US Navy uniform, and then the RAF, the Fleet Air Arm uniform, and put those in there. So that's probably the most pilot figures I've ever done.
Very nice.
But yeah, I did enjoy it.
Ooh.
Oh look, so this is the Tammy 48 scale classic kit.
Nice.
Very nice. Look, he's got 2 figures in it. Very nice indeed. Very good. Yeah, do you ever think, Pramjit, your kits will become classics like theirs do? Do you often think to yourself, do you know what? I think it's going to stand the test of time and be, you know, the one to beat in years to come?
I hope so. That's what I try and do with every kit. It's got to be the one to beat. Obviously, in reality, sometimes that's not always the case. But whenever I'm designing, I'm always designing like this has got to be the next kit that's another manufacturer, or we have got to beat in like 40, 50 years when it comes to retooling it or doing it again. That's how I sort of design.
See, that must be nice, I must admit, because obviously everything we sort of do here is probably, as I say, as my mum would say, it's chip paper, because no one will care tomorrow. But as I say, it must be, you know, from your point of view as a designer, you're going to be then having something that will probably outlive you.
He'll have a legacy.
It is.
Yeah.
You're basically designing, and you know, your legacy of kits. That, let's face it, you know, a lot of these kits will probably last a lot longer than other ones, shall we say? You know, that they might be around once you've gone, and people or youngsters will be building in for years to come. So, yes.
What you guys might go in like the YouTube Hall of Fame.
I doubt it. Not with me. Kevin's done the mole. Which one's that? What's that? Which Thunderbird's that?
Don't know.
Which one was
That's the Paul in it at Thunderbird 2.
It was part of the, yeah.
Oh,
one
did
of
it
the
get a
pods.
designation?
I don't think it had one, did it? Just
No,
called
just the
Paul.
mole, wasn't it?
Oh, right, okay, just the mole. Looks very nice. I take it that's the Ashima one, is it?
I think it might be, yes.
Yes. Very
Quite
nice.
cool.
Very cool indeed. We've got the mole. Figure painting time. There we go.
Ooh.
Nice.
Ooh.
So this is the Bronco Models 148 scale Air Volunteer Group Pilot figure. Hand brushed with Hitaka Blue Line and Tamiya acrylics.
Well done. Nice.
Nice.
Good job.
Very, very good. Excellent job there. And we've now got, oh look, can't go wrong with the Tonka. Very nice. In the Saudi colour scheme. I do like the Saudi colour scheme. I've never done it.
I like the side schemes. I've never done it either.
There we go. So this is the Revel one.
Yeah, it's nice build that.
That does look cool.
Very nice. Got the pay penny in that. Very nice indeed. Very cool. I must admit, it's nice to see a tornado either in the nice wraparound camo like I did, or the, you know, the Saudi colours and things like that, rather than grey. But yes, very nice.
Good job, that. Nice one.
Very, very nice job on that one. Cool beans. Very nice. What else? Oh, look, we've got a Vulcan.
The Vulcan.
God, it would probably be better than mine. Mark's about his Vulcan.
Is that in flight? Yeah, that is.
It is in flight. Is that a giant metal stand for it?
Yeah.
Just to hold it? 'Cause it's a heavy lump at the best of times. So it must be cast iron, this whatever this is underneath, to hold that up.
Yeah, I think that's the first Vulcan I've seen in flight, actually.
I have to say, kudos to your designer for the gear on this one, because for the first time ever, I've done a multi-bogeyed landing gear system that's not doglegging, as in one wheel that's not touching. And
Yeah.
they're all touching the ground, which is amazing.
It was interesting as well because Chris, the designer, I'm not going to take credit for any of it, but I remember he was asking me like, how would you paint and build it if I were to do it? And it's just one of those things where it's quite nice that what I can like help or bring to the team as well.
Yeah, yeah.
From the modeling point of view is obviously the other guys who would ask, oh, how would you actually build and paint this? So I am quite happy the way it came out, and obviously he's the one who done like 99% of the work. So the work. So it was quite good.
Very nice, very cool. And well done, Mark. That was lovely. And last up, I'll refresh it again just to check. We've got this is Reheat Models, 70-second Helldiver. Very nice. Again, this is the old Airfix kit. There you go.
Nice.
Look at that.
That stand looks pretty cool. That base.
Yeah, with the base. Yeah, proper planking.
Yeah, it looks cracking, that.
Very good. Let me just double check the make sure nothing else has come through. No, I think we're okay. As I say, there is I don't know why there's a lag on your phone. They come through instantly, but on your the actual computer, there's always a little bit of a lag involved with that one. So yes, good job. Look, they're trying to wheedle spoilers out of you. I won't read the questions. But he says he is looking forward to the Hornby TV show that's coming on in a couple of weeks' time. That's from Neil. Thanks for giving us your weekend, guys. I didn't miss a minute. There you go. Well done, Stephen. Lovely. I love it when they have Pramjit on. So interesting to listen, and such a nice guy. Airfix. Oh, lucky to have him. So yes, they are. Don't forget, everyone, and I'll do it because I know he's too kind to do this. Please send a little message to Airfix saying how wonderful he is and how great he was on the Flory Model Show, because it's good for him, because then his boss will think he's doing amazingly well. But no, if you can, send him a little message just to say how well he's doing and all the rest of it. So if everyone can do it 10 times under aliases, it'll be great.
Yeah.
Yes, if you hate grey, build some pre-1990 RAF trainers. True?
Yeah, so wrap rounds and stuff.
Yes.
The 70s group build's going to have all those classic RAF camo schemes.
It will
in
be.
it?
You can do all that. Why do Airfix not include stands anymore with their aircraft? Well, they do now, look. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. But again, we've spoken about, me and Pranjit have spoken about this before. Sometimes it boils down to cost. It can literally tip a project over the edge if you just put a stand in with each one. And this day and age as well, on bigger models, there's a lot of different options out there.
They fell out of fashion though, didn't they, in the 90s and stuff. Stands.
I had one the other day from a certain model company which will remain nameless, and they're awful. They wouldn't hold up that, I tell you, literally a 72nd Hawk it would struggle with. How it would ever allegedly hold a 48 scale aircraft is beyond me, and that's from a manufacturer.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are bad. Look, we haven't even gone yet and everyone's thanking us.
We can have an early bath then.
Yes. Do we have a date for the Hornby TV show? Yes, what date? It's the 11th, isn't it, Pranjit?
Monday 11th of October is the first episode. That's at 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
on
on
yesterday channel. I don't know what the actual channel number is.
Yeah.
But yeah, yesterday channel. I don't even have a TV. Well, I do have a TV, but I've got no actual channels on this, so I'm probably gonna have to watch it online or something.
Are you still trying to fudge it so you don't have to buy a TV license?
No, I've got a TV license because it's streaming and stuff like that. I just don't watch those channels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and preview.
Hey, to be honest, we could have been on this show because Pranjit dropped us in. This is a behind-the-scenes special, and mentioned to the production company that they ought to deal with us about certain things. And but to be honest, we couldn't be bothered to clear the unit.
Oh, this is the.
So, but yes, they wanted to get involved with us, but we declined because it didn't fit with anyway, because the filming was done during COVID and stuff like that as well. So we passed on this one, but it would have meant we'd have had to clear the unit. Which,
out of all honesty, now that it's not happened, I actually just wanted to come to your unit and then just have a look around. To be honest, that was
hey, look, you can come up any time. You don't have to bring a production company with you. You're welcome at any point.
I was like, that's a good way to go to get a day out of work and then go to a model shop.
Yeah,
that's not a bad day's work.
It was the makeup department. They took one look at Matt and Andy and said no.
Hey.
That's probably very true.
You always go to Doncaster Air Museum on your way in that part of the world.
Yes. Look, they're saying here that Pramjit's probably selling more models than whoever Airfix pays for them for their advertising. See, this is it, you see? Well, look, we're not going to go down TV licensing.
I do have a TV license if anyone's wondering. All of a sudden,
he is honest before they come around banging on his door.
Yeah.
If Airfix are not doing Telford reveal, then maybe they can do a glory. I think he means Flory reveal instead. Again, we covered this. It's not technically a thing where Airfix. They've done it for the last 2 years, but don't think that's the norm. They do their product launch, isn't it, in January?
Yeah.
And that's where this year's product launch will be. Is your website going to crash? I was just thinking last year it crashed, didn't it?
It didn't it? Yeah.
I think it crashes every year too.
It crashes
Yes,
every year
yeah,
under the
it's-
weight of everything that happens. So yeah, I remember it happening at the time because everyone was saying to me, "Do you know what it is?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't looked. 'Cause I forgot, to be honest." And
Right.
everyone's saying the website's down. It's like, brilliant. That's it. The one day you need it, but I think it's just weight of calls going into it.
Well, last year we done a YouTube video, so that helped quite a bit because everyone just watched the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they use Facebook and things like that, Facebook, YouTube at the same time, and did it all, because you can set it to do a timed release, and did it all at the same time as the website, then it'd take the strain off the website, and it'd be over different platforms anyway. So
You know what though? I'd take it as a compliment that people are that interested that they
Yeah,
crash the
absolutely. I would as well.
website. You'd be worried if you got no interest, wouldn't you? Really?
Yeah, what would you rather have? Your website crash or no one knows? No one cares. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll take the website crash.
Every time, every year, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Brett's asking what a TV license is.
Basically, a TV tax.
It's a TV tax. We get taxed for watching the telly. Just another way they get you.
Well, hold on, we get taxed for watching the BBC.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
it's on the TV, isn't it?
It's not the telly, is it? It's the
No.
BBC.
How the BBC gets its money.
Because they don't have any adverts for you in the States.
So Brett, if you watch any BBC programs or BBC TV,
it's the way it's uniquely funded.
you're welcome.
They call it's the way it's uniquely funded. Yeah. Amazing that. That's why on British game shows as well, if you're watch British TV at around about 5 o'clock, right, on one side you could win £67,000. On the other side, the BBC, you could win £4.90.
Yeah.
That's because one's an independent and then the other one is funded by the BBC.
Yeah, David says you're joking, right?
Oh,
No.
how much is it? I'm looking how much it is. I don't even know how much it is. It's about £80 a year, isn't it?
No, it's more than that.
It's like 150,
I was
160.
going to say, I think it's about 150 quid a year. I pay my monthly, it's like £13 a month, whatever it is.
How much does it cost? I can't find it. Well, that's just out by direct debit. It just goes.
Yeah, I think mine's £13 a month.
Is it? Jeez.
Russell says 153 quid.
Yeah, there you go. I know it's not. Yeah, so it's gone up a bit.
It's £159 or £53.50 for black and white.
I think
David says, is it taxed on the basis of how many TVs? No, it's just based on whether
It's a
full.
blanket tax.
We lost John.
Per household. So if there's a lock on your door, it's
Whoever owns it, black and white telly.
John went then.
Hold on. John's screwed himself in. How do you manage that?
I don't know. How'd you do that, John?
He's dragging
You
back up
still
to
have
the
to
top.
fan
The internet just dropped out. It's just started absolutely tipping it down here.
Oh, right, okay. Right, hold on.
Push
We'll
John
go
back up
for
to
a
the top.
5x5 in here. Hold on.
Yeah,
There we go. It's all right. We're in a 5x5 box cell.
Hey, BBC's in HD, isn't
Hey.
it? I don't know.
How's that work? There's 6 of us.
Yeah, hold on. How have you managed to come back in then?
I don't know what's happened
Oh,
there.
right. It's all right. We're fine like this.
Hey.
It's all right.
yeah, everything's in HD, and a lot of stuff now is in 4K. So
Is it?
Again, Stefan is saying, will the Hornby TV show be available to watch online internationally? We were saying about this, weren't we, Pramjit? We think it may be a link via your website.
I'll find out because I'm not actually 100% sure. They might, because I would imagine you can. I know you can use like VPNs and then access the UK. Because I looked at it a few days ago. That was a bit of fun there. I looked at yesterday's channel yesterday. Yeah.
Pramjit's not condoning that if it's illegal, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yes.
No, I will find out because that's a genuine question anyway. I'm sure other people. I think that's going to be quite a few people, to be honest.
Yeah, especially for people outside the UK or haven't got Digi and all the rest of it.
Yeah. No, I'll find out and then I'll pass it on to you. If you don't hear anything, then you know you can't watch it.
Yeah, well, what we'll do, we'll post up a thing on social media for it and everything as well to keep everybody informed about where it is and all the rest of it. And if you can get to it on catch up and streaming and stuff like that. Right, we sort of done-ish. Should we have a final flick round and then we'll say our goodbyes?
Yes, I think.
I think we shall. So, your last chance to grab any of your products at a discount price. Sorry, Pranchett, I'm going to have to square you out there. Say, if you want anything, Flory model sets, various things, sanders, bits and pieces like that, I'm going to shut this down once I've finished everything in here. So you've probably got about another hour or so to run on this one. I have to say, massive thank you to everybody, because I know what these levels were when we started, and you've completely gone through it like a lot of angry beavers. I don't know how that transforms into some type of thing, but there we go. I've run it out. My brain's gone.
Plague of locusts.
Yeah, a plague of locusts. That would be a good one. So yes, very good. So we say wash sets, various things. They're like £10 off. All the washes £4.80 and all things like that. I say we're out of stock of the pigment sets, but we have got them individually. Restocking of those will have to be dependent on what I've got left at the end of it. So that is on there. So if you want to pop down, links down below. That's on the Flory model site. PM site is obviously doing the specials. So we've got the last of these, which are up here, and
until 5 o'clock.
Until 5 o'clock. So you've got 9 minutes. To go through. So you've got your final 9 minutes to grab any of your bargains out of here. Grab them whilst you can. You might want to get a Lancaster. I'm going to build that next year, just saying. We've got all of those down in there as well. So if you want to grab yourself some bargains down in there, don't forget it's 10% off all model kits just normally. So any kits that aren't in the sale, they are 10% off. So if you fancy anything, just go in there. You get all your tools, all your bits and pieces, all your masking tapes. As you say, all the bits and pieces are in here. And as we always say, if we're out of stock, just keep an eye on it because we get new stocks arriving daily, literally. So
we'll be on a full-on restock.
Yeah, there's a full restock going to be going in for all of that lot as well. So if you want to get anything in there, don't forget for our EU members, this is going to run until, it's got the thing up here, until 10 p.m. CET, wherever that is. Central European time, is it?
Yeah.
What would that be?
European
God.
time.
Is that an hour in front of us? Something like that. I'm sure you'll know if you're in Europe. But anyway, you've got 15% off all Flory Models products as well from Serious Hobbies, the guy over there. Give them some love. Remember, I get asked literally about 10 times a day about sales to Europe. All European sales go through Serious Hobbies. Great group of guys. They're all modelers as well. So any questions, anything else like that, shoot it to them. They're our official European distributor for all the Flory models. But also they do Tamiya tape and all the usual bits and stuff we can't even get, I'd hasten to add. Yeah, buggers. And they do like Quinta Studios and all stuff like that and airbrushes and all the other big things as well. So if you want to get anything, click in over there and you can have a look. And also it's Serious Hobbies GR as well if you're in that part of the world for their big site. So all of those. And then don't forget Brett over in North America for all your North American steeds. You need some stuff, some bits. Yeah, I'm gone. They are available as well just down in there. So if you want to get any of your bits and pieces, you can get them from Brett just like that. Cool deeds.
Brilliant.
Very good. Excellent show. But obviously a massive thank you for everybody for joining us over the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm knackered now. I'm feeling it. I've literally just got off the cliff. I need another bottle of whatever I was on last night. That limoncello to keep you going. But massive thank you for all your support and kindness and all your feedback and all your likes and thumbs up and that through social media and obviously on YouTube and all things like that. It's all massively appreciated. Huge thank you to Pramjet for coming on. You know, as I say, big thank you for him because he takes out hours and hours out of his time. I would say it's a chore for him, but I'm sure he loves coming on here because he can just yap safely and stuff like that. But also big thank you for Airfix to allowing him to do it because, you know, he'd do it anyway. He just wouldn't wear his top. It's great that obviously they've got a little bit of trust and faith in us as well. So a big thank you to them. I have to thank them as well for sending me the Airfix Vulcan, which we finished off during the show over the weekend. The final part of that is up with you tomorrow. Obviously it won't include the weathering because I did that over the weekend. But the final part is up there. It's all linked as well, so you can watch it as a giant build. It is a free to view as well, so you don't have to be a member or pay or anything else like that. You can see all of those on there as we make our way through. And then next week I'll be starting something completely different, like a submarine, I think, back into next week. So that'd be cool. Good job. So, what are we doing? Nathan, have you got anything quickly show or tell or anything before we go?
I've managed to. The
I might
Spitfire
have to
is
just
built.
fiddle the views because we've all moved a little bit. Hold on. Yeah, just bend down a bit, Nathan. There we go. Oh, look, it's come on. That's
It's
it.
basically built. I need to mask the canopy, and that's what's put the brakes on a bit. Well, that has come together in what, an hour and a bit.
Yes.
And you know what? Once the canopy's on, I think the obviously the detail in that one is nowhere like that one in terms of the cockpit, you know. But I think once the canopy's on, the pilot's in, I think you can go away with that.
Yeah, you're not going to notice, are you?
No, so and that's a lovely little, like I said, mojo fixer. Gone together with no bother whatsoever.
Very nice. And Andy, are you all right?
Yeah, knackered.
He is. He's falling asleep there, bless him. But big thank you to Andy, because what you people probably don't realise is Andy does a lot of stuff behind the scenes as he's live on as well.
Yeah.
So he's the guy who's fixing all the stuff as we make our way through the show and all stuff like that. So big thank you to Andy for that one. And big thank you for John as well.
No problem.
Joining us the weekend.
Enjoyed it.
Soldiering through and all the bits and pieces like that. I can't get Matt on.
Oh, thanks.
Hold on, let me try and rig something here. Hold on. Where is
Click on
he?
that.
Oh, he's there. Right, hold on. It's all right, fine. If I do, hold on, I need to then eject someone. Right, hold on. I'm just going to pop them in there.
Click on large grid mode and see what happens.
Hold on, it's all right. I've got him back in. He's fine. Right, hopefully if I do that.
There you go.
There we go. He's in.
It's a
Look at
Disney
that.
contract full of build.
That's turned out really nice. So, remembering everyone, that was the Mahogany Wonder.
And then obviously chipping fluid, and then make a mix of Tamiya paint just for the green.
Yeah.
And then chipping, but yeah, it's come out all right. It's getting there, isn't it?
It is
So
looking very nice.
That's really good.
yeah, can't
Very,
complain.
very cool.
That looks nice.
It does.
Thanks.
Turned out very, very nicely on that one. Good job. One thing to say just before we go is obviously everybody's ordered. Bear with us. I'll speak for the other guys as well, is that obviously you've really blown us away with all your ordering and bits and pieces, so it's probably going to take a few days to process your orders and get them all out, because there's literally hundreds and hundreds. So if your stuff doesn't arrive Tuesday, give it a bit of time, because it's probably going to take a little bit more time to come. And then also I take it back end of the week you're going to be invoicing for the stuff that's come in on the pre-orders.
I want to try and get them invoiced possibly tomorrow, Tuesday. Probably Tuesday now, to be honest with you. So we can start getting them done till like Wednesday, Thursday.
Plan is literally we'll get everything out by the end of the week at the earliest. We'll keep you up to date anyway. But yeah, tomorrow we'll be just processing, seeing what's what, sorting through it all, and then obviously we should get a batch out tomorrow, and then a batch too, because we get to pick up every day anyway.
Yeah.
So by the end of the week we'll be well up to date. So. But yeah, I just want to say, just echo what Phil says, and just thank you for all your support, all the sales we've had, and just supporting PM Models. It's been mind blowing, to be honest. It's brilliant. So yeah,
Hundreds.
Hundreds of orders, absolutely. And also massive, obviously the biggest thing is thank you to the Flory family as well. You guys in chat supporting us, making all this happen. Couldn't do it without you guys at all. We actually wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Flory family as well. So a massive thank you to you. And our other sponsor, who's just telling me, you do realise it's 5 o'clock and that's my dinner time. It's like a mobile dinner bell, isn't it? So yes, thank you, Lola. We'll be with you in 5 minutes, all right? Good girl. So anyway, thank you very much from us. Massive thank you to Pranjit. Give all our love to the people back at Airfix. Tell them to keep up the good work, and you deserve a pay rise. Just saying. From that point of view, massive thank you to the team and everything. Thank you for you guys, obviously social media, everything else like that. If you want to show us some love, just give us a thumbs up, because it helps with the algorithm and bits and pieces, I am told. Right, that's it from us. Thank you. Happy modelling. Take care. We will see you all again very soon. Goodbye.
Bye.